Hello and welcome to Formula Student Sim Racing 2023-2024. We are back with round two and we are so excited to be here. I'm Giles Cosgrove and with me, as always, is the ever-reliable Jess Ball. We are very excited to be bringing you all the live coverage of tonight's races. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, so do not go anywhere, sit tight and stick around. Still to come, we've also got James here with us as well, which is wonderful to have him on board.
What's going on tonight then, Giles?
We are going to be going to Brands Hatch for round two, and it's going to be fantastic. We've got Jess, talk us through Brands Hatch. What do you know of the circuit?
Well, the origins of this circuit, it lies with a group of cyclists back in 1926, led by a guy called Ron Argent, who paused to stop by a mushroom field, believe it or not. It was around a London to Dover road, and this track was used for many years for military training, and the field belonged to a nearby Brands Hatch farm. And for 2 years, there was quite a lot that happened at Brands Hatch. The name is thought to derive from the Bronde Hatch, which is a Gaelic term, Bron meaning wooded slope, and Hatch literally entrance to the forest. And it was used as an army hut back in the day, but now it's used as a track, and it was first used by cyclists, and then Formula One used to come here, BTCC, and now the Formula 4, which had origins back in the 1960s with schools such as Jim Russell School and the Motor Racing Stable. It's a really lovely car, and many previous and current Formula 1 stars used to race in Formula Ford as well. It has a 1 litre engine. It costs around about £3,000 back in the day as well. It is a really good car for the drivers, and it should be very, very exciting. But last month we went to Brazil and we had some cracking races there.
Oh gosh, yeah, we can go for the standings in just a second, Jess. I will come back onto this calendar momentarily. I have lost my buttons here. I've got a hotkey thing. No, it's all right. I've got a hotkey thing on my desk and it's decided to die. So I'm trying to guess which button's which one here, guys. So where's our standings? Right, come on, be nice. Do you know, this is...
We'll do the standings then, shall we?
Yeah, exactly. Let's do the standings. There we are. We've got the standings to hand, so we will do that. We'll come back to the fixtures straight afterwards, guys. So, coming into round two, this is what the standings are looking like at the moment, guys. So we have the University of Vigo, brand new to the series. Welcome to the series, guys. They got a second and a first in... the first round, so they are currently our championship leaders. Regular protagonists Bolton, Hull and Salford, second, third and fourth in the standings there. And welcome also to the University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuels. There they are in fifth. They were the other winner of the previous round as well. So yeah, two brand new names to the standings, and or to the championship, I should say. And there they are, right in the thick of it. You'll see though, guys, there's a big name missing. Who are we missing?
We are missing University of Glasgow, the winners of last year's entire championship. A shocking result for them last time out, which puts them down in 21st position, as you can see here, with 36 points. They're absent from the top 20, which is a real shock. Now, each academic year, teams change, people graduate, new members come in, and I can understand, certainly, that each new team group will bring a new dynamic, but as I said last time out, last month, I thought University of Glasgow really needed to go away from round one, look in the mirror and try and work out where they'd gone wrong, because dropping from being championship winners to not even being in the top 20, as far as I could see, was a real cause for concern.
Absolutely. I mean, their only saving grace is that they do have a drop score, which they can use in the season. Just, I guess they weren't expecting to perhaps have to consider that in round one. But to be fair, that's exactly what happened last year as well, wasn't it, guys? They had a a sharp learning curve in the first round, a lot of pace, but the results didn't materialise, and they kind of had to work their backsides off for the rest of the year to make sure that they were in with a chance for the championship. So perhaps they need the pressure to engage the steamroller.
I can understand that. It was certainly last year an exponential curve in terms of their results. You could see they definitely had pace, but their initial results compared to what they looked like on track just weren't there. The points just weren't coming to them. And then they managed to get it to gel around the midway point of the season, to the point that they, of course, won last year at Williams eSports. We'll get on to what things are looking like later on. Talking of Williams eSports, we'll be going back there over the summer, and there's a few dates for your diaries to come. So let's have a look at what's to come. I believe those tech issues have been fixed now. Welcome back to round 2 of Formula Student Sim Racing 2023-2024. We're not quite sure what happened there. Gremlins in the system. It is Christmas after all, and if you're into alternative Christmas films, you may have seen them. Apparently, they're in our system. Anyway, this is what you've got to look forward to for the rest of the season, going into the new year. So tonight, we are at Brands Hatch with the Formula Ford cars, as mentioned. But from that, on the 20th of January, we will have round 3. Round 4 comes to us on the... Is that the 17th of February? And then on the 16th of the 16th of March, we got round 5, and then round 6, the 13th of April, and then we've got round 7, the live final from Williams eSports. So get those dates in your diaries. We'll bring you live coverage there. Very much looking forward to having you on board for all of those. Those dates are subject to change, but they're fairly set in stone. We're not anticipating any big rejigs of the season calendar going forward. As you can see there, round 1, your winners were, of course, Vigo. Absolutely fantastic result for them. Then in second place, we had Bolton, followed by Hull in third. And I got to say, Jess, those were not the teams I was expecting to see in the top 3. And it does blow this year's championship wide open, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I was watching back the Brazil race a couple of weeks ago, and it was great to see the amount of teams that were up there at the front. And even one of the teams from Server 2, even though they only did one race in Server 1 and one race in Server 2, the consistency that they've shown, they were still able to get roughly into the top 5. And it's also nice to see the rookie teams being up there as well, because there's some people that have never done Formula Student before. They might have not had much experience, and it's just great to see them getting their great results sorted right at the beginning of the season, which means they probably got to find it hard for potential things to improve. You always got to find stuff to improve, right? But quite a lot of the rookie teams have done very well indeed as well. We're interested to see how they do tonight. We've got quite a few jokers for tonight's Brands Hatch race. Do you want to know who they are, Giles?
I'd love to, Jess. Please, tell all.
Yes, so we've got UCL, Kingston, Napier, Staffordshire, Holby, Munster, Exeter, Liverpool, John Moores, Southampton, and of course, last season's champion, Glasgow. And for those of you that don't know what the Joker is, every single team in the Formula Student Sim Racing Series, they will run an extra 5% maths throughout the entirety of the 2 races that we got overall. But the Jokers, they will be going back to their original weight of their car, and we've seen with the likes of Vigo, for example, in Brazil, that made quite a lot of difference to their results. So it'll be interesting to see how that works there as well. We did have a sneak peek of what qualifying was earlier on, and we have seen some surprises, but we have seen some people that kind of redeemed themselves as well. But yeah, it will be interesting to see that one. But yeah, those are the jokers tonight. But our biggest team that is going to be doing the jokers tonight is Glasgow.
Absolutely. So this is the thing. The Joker can have a major impact on your race result. And we've been seeing that in qualifying. We know what the results for qualifying are, but we're not going to tell you just yet. Instead, we've got Monty here. And I'd just like to know, Monty, what would you suggest to the drivers going into this? You've done a fair bit around Brands Hatch. You know the track. You know what it takes to get that little blue pill into your racing results. So what do you need to be doing behind the wheel when you're going around Brands Hatch?
Oh, that's an introduction and a half. Thank you, Giles. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 2. Brands Hatch is a cracking little circuit. It's got 2 layouts. I think anyone who remembers Formula 1 from the past time will definitely remember Nigel Mansell's escapades around Brands, and that was what Formula 1 was like back in the day. This is actually the Indy circuit that we're on tonight. So as you saw on the layout before, actually, should we just bring that back up again, guys, just so they can actually see what it is we're talking about? So let's see if I can get that car and track combo back. So, happy days, we are all good. And yes, so as you can see, it's kind of like a sausage shaped layout. There's the only way we can describe the Indy circuit, and there's a lot of undulation here. It's essentially in the bowl of a valley, this track. So once we get some onboard shots for you, you'll be able to see how the track drops down. It goes uphill braking, it's downhill, kind of dance around on the throttle and keep the balance going, particularly with these cars. As you can see, they're single-seater but with no downforce. There's no wings on them, so it's really going to be about being gentle on the brakes, keeping the momentum up, and for a better word, four-wheel drifting through the corners, because well, these tyres, the tyres on the cars are grooved as well. So by having grooved tyres, you know, there's just not a lot of grip on these. So expect potentially to see a lot of spins, a lot of calamities. The person who is most consistent is definitely the one that is most likely to win. It's not just about the 1 lap pace here, because I think it's maybe about 49 seconds for a lap around this very, very short circuit. So that's definitely going to be quite busy with 20 cars on the track as well. There's no blue flag rules here either tonight, so it's about keeping your nose clean in a 25-minute race and ensuring that you can get to the finish. The other thing as well for the drivers to consider, of course, is new for this season, the ×4 fuel and tyre rate, or wear rate I should say. And where we saw in the first race, didn't we guys, how they were having to make 2 pit stops in a 25-minute race just to ensure that they could get to the finish line, ensure they had good tyres. Fuel doesn't seem to be as big an issue tonight because it's a shorter circuit, it's a bigger fuel tank in the car. But the tyre performance drops off very, very quickly. Actually, in the pre-qualifying server, which has been running for the last month. So for context, guys, anyone that you see tonight, they've had to fulfill the prerequisite, which was to ensure that they could do 5 consecutive laps within 107% of the target time. The tyres are dying so quickly that by the 4th and 5th lap, they're already beyond that target, so we're going to see a huge drop off in pace. The car's becoming much more leery, much more slidier, and if that's even a word, if not, I've just coined a new thing for the dictionary there.
A new phrase.
New phrase, exactly. Slidier. There we are. Let's see if we can use that one tonight, guys. But yeah, no, it's going to be about a lot of tyre wear rate, and whether it's actually worth coming into the pits, sticking on some new boots, and try and get that advantage again. I have no idea what to expect with the strategy though, guys, so it's going to be a lottery tonight.
I'll be interested to see how many drivers come a cropper on the right-hander up the hill towards the bridge over the circuit, because I've been watching some of the practice servers in progress, and they tend to fly off as they come down into the valley and then go straight back up around the right-hander. And there's a gravel track right there that's waiting to catch over-exuberant drivers out. I've seen it before. I imagine we may well see it tonight, especially with that tyre wear. We'll be able to bring you pictures of that practice very, very shortly, so do stick with us. Jess, your predictions for tonight. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Oh, it's good. It's gonna be quite tight, but I do think Vigo or Vigo. I always pronounce that team wrong. Vigo are gonna pretty much be consistent. They may not win the thing, but as long as they get 2 consistent results, they could pretty much hold on to the lead in the championship as well. Exeter have been looking good. Of course, they're doing their Joker tonight, but I think I want to see Glasgow redeem themselves. I know some people may hate me for this, but it was gutting to see them in 21st in the standings. I want them to put Brazil behind them and get their campaign going in Brands Hatch Indy tonight.
Excellent stuff. So what you're seeing now is the drivers out practicing, getting used to the track. They have completed qualifying for race 1. Bear in mind that there are 2 races per event. So we've got 2 races to come for you from this round, and of course 2 servers in operation. You've got your top server and your bottom server. We will bring you the results from both, but we will stream live the top server. On board then with Bolton. Look at this, what a fantastic view that is, and the liveries on these cars, virtual nonetheless, but look how great that looks. Going a bit wide there at Bolton, and you can see how difficult these cars are going to be once the tyres go away. How many pit stops are we going to see tonight is the question. A fair few would seem to be the logical answer. As they go up through the hill, heading, I'm trying to get my bearings where we are on the circuit on board Bolton. That's a lot easier. Heading down towards the start-finish straight now. Bolton with Staffordshire ahead of them. This is the corner I was talking about. Watch this. Go round the right-hander. You can look to your left. You can see the gravel trap there. Go down the hill and then up towards the bridge. That gravel trap on the left, very handy for catching out over-exuberant drivers. So do keep an eye out for that one.
My favourite corner around this circuit is Druids, because we can see a lot of side-by-side action going through there as well. And you're past the 30s and then coming up into the Clark curve. And this is where the Indy track comes into play, because on the full track, you'll turn left a little bit and go a bit longer. But it is a very short circuit, which is great for us because we get to see some more great action. But for some drivers, if they make mistakes already, they're already going to be so much time behind before the end of the race. So they've got to really play their strategies right. And bearing in mind, Formula Student is not just finding the next Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. It's an engineering competition at the end of the day. We hopefully would find the next Ross Brawn, Adrian Newey as well. There is the engineering challenge as well that they've been taking part in this season, which we'll touch on a little bit later on as well. And the setups that they run here at this circuit, hopefully the knowledge they have gained throughout this competition would really help them find whether they want a high downforce car or a low downforce car, what parts of the car to change and stuff like that. So their engineering skills is really coming into play, even though they might be good at sim racing. Any practice that they get here is going to help them in future rounds. So again, it's not just about finding the next Lewis Hamilton, for example. It's to find the next engineers of the future.
To find the next Adrian Newey.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
We're looking for it. I mean, I really would recommend his book, How to Build a Race Car. It's an absolutely fantastic read, and interestingly enough, features a cameo from one Jeremy Clarkson. Adrian Newey and Jeremy Clarkson were at school together, and there was an incident involving a speaker system turned up far too loud that broke a lot of windows. I'm not sure whether they got expelled, but I know there was a fair bit of trouble. But I really would recommend his book. It's a brilliant read, whether or not you intend to actually build a race car. But if you are from a Formula student team and you're at college and you want to get involved when you get to uni, really would recommend that book.
A lot of spins happening on track as well, which is quite interesting. But interesting enough, talking about Adrian Newey, I had the chance to go to the Red Bull factory a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, I can't say much about the mechanics behind it because otherwise I'll get told off. But it was a really great experience. Good to find out about the behind the scenes of what makes a great winning team and find out what they do and stuff. And it's just, I think I was just so in awe about what I was able to see as well. It was absolutely fantastic. And the amount of trophies as well.
Jess, go on, you can let us into a secret. What colour are the cars really?
Pardon?
What colours are the cars really?
I would get told off. I would get told off, Monty.
You can't even tell what their true colour is. Oh, they're that secretive.
Well, of course, it's their usual colours. It's their usual colours. We haven't seen their 2024 car yet. Their 2023 car was still in show. But yeah, it was a fun experience. And I think a few ex-Formula student members work at the Red Bull factory as well. So yeah, it just shows if you get that experience at Formula Student, you can work with the likes of Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren as well. I think a few students are working at currently. So we are hopefully about to get going for the main action very, very soon, fingers crossed. And are we allowed to go through qualifying?
We'll wait. I think we'll wait for them to line up on the grid. People who are waiting are on the stream watching. Joseph Usher says, "Come on, Portsmouth Electric." Miguel Fortes says he's very much in support of University of Vigo Motorsport. Adam Norton cheering on Salford, as is the incredible Ish. They're expecting a Wheater masterclass. Adam Norton says Wheater loves starting at the back. So we're expecting to see there must be a one-driver penalty perhaps for Salford. We're on the grid now. They're lining up on the grid. Let's go through the qualifying results then. And look at this. They are back where they belong. University of Glasgow Racing have taken pole position a whole half a second faster than the rest of the grid in a 49-second lap. It's ridiculous, the pace on that. Southampton are there in second, both running their jokers. In third, it is University Cardiff Racing. Excuse me. Hull, meanwhile, are in fourth. That's
another
the Hull
joker.
B team. The Hull A team are in fifth. Someone's going to have to take over. I've had a bit too much kebab. Excuse me.
Yeah, certainly. We've got Bath in P6, a very good qualifying for them. We've got Liverpool, John Moore in 7th place. In the 36, we've got, I think it's Munster. Yeah, it is Munster. I was right. And then we've got 12A, which is Kingston Racing. Then we got Staffordshire, another joker in a 10th spot. I believe it's Bolton in 11th. University College.
I'm surprised to see Bolton in 11th, I must say.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I thought they'll be near the front. They've been constantly near the front in the last few races. We've got University College Dublin in 13th. And we got another
12th,
shocker.
Victoria are in 13th. 12th is University College Dublin. Surprised to see Victoria down there as well. They've been fairly consistent, especially in the last season. They did some great driving when we had classic British touring cars over at Goodwood. Hertfordshire are there in 14th. Aberdeen in 15th. The other Welsh university here in the top 20, University Welsh Trinity St David, they are there in 16th. In 17th is Exeter. They've got a bit of love on the stream recently. That's from Mr. Pimple Nose. Meanwhile, RBRT. I've dropped the ball there. We were doing so well, weren't we, Jess?
48 is University of Portsmouth Alternative. No, that's 41A. Sorry, I was.
I'm going to say it's Redbird, one of the Hong Kong teams.
Oh, yeah, it is Redbird. Then it's University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel, and then it's Salford. But I see one team that's not on there. I'm very shocked to see that team not on there. They might not be here tonight, but I'm not entirely sure. Where is Vigo? Where are they?
That is a very good point, Jess. So we've got 44 teams in for tonight. We are only live streaming the top tier server, so there is a second server as well, guys, which they'll be racing in. I can confirm Vigo are starting from pole in the second server, so technically they qualified 21st on the grid. So our current championship leaders, guys, are not in the top server at the moment. We'll have to see if they can qualify for the top server when we come around to do race 2 later. Kind reminder, there are 2 races on tonight. We've got about 40 seconds left before this race gets underway. So yes, there are 44 cars in total. We will keep you updated with how everyone is getting on in their respective servers though tonight. Especially if Vigo, the championship leaders, aren't even in the top tier server. So this is definitely Glasgow's chance to redeem themselves now, guys.
Could this be the biggest comeback since Liam Gallagher, University of Glasgow Racing, in pole position? The lights come on. We're about to go racing at Brands Hatch for the first time tonight. 6 lights, all that stands between these drivers and a chance at victory in race 1 of round 2. Lights out. Come on, then. Away we go, and that is a fairly slow start by the looks of things from University of Glasgow as Cardiff nose in behind them. They're side by side with Southampton. Glasgow get a better just away then. They've got the better racing line starting on the inside from pole, and they're pulling away immediately from Southampton. Cardiff following them. Hull beating up in fourth then. A great deal of traffic through these first corners. Are we going to avoid first lap drama? Probably not, it's students, so just keep your eyes on that tarmac. You're on board then with Victoria, who have got up into 10th, going very wide there on the grass. A lot of drivers, oh dearie me, and that is down then for Exeter. They've gone off. That is absolutely gutting for the Devonshire team, who are down into 20th. Bolton up into 11th, Victoria down into 12th. A fair big old chunk of the pack right in the middle there, vying it out for the spot. Southampton then chasing down Glasgow, both running with their jokers. A half a second separates them. Cardiff in third. In fourth, it's Hull B. Hull A in fifth. They've got past MTU, and they're all going very wide there with someone in the background of that shot. I think that might have been Hull A, I think. Could be wrong. Bath there in their yellow and blue, followed closely by Exeter. Up ahead of them, it's Hull B team went off. That would have been Hull B team who went away in the back of your screens there. Yes, Hull A then up into fourth, Cardiff in third, Southampton in second, and Hull A, all of a sudden they're up into first. How's that happened?
I wonder if Glasgow was one of the cars that went had a bit of an off, or maybe it was. Oh no, it is Glasgow that's leading. It's the timing's having a bit of a hitty fit.
Board error. But
Don't panic, Glasgow fans. Glasgow is still leading, but yeah, Glasgow is pulling away quite a bit then as well. Hull A doing a decent job as well, and the sun is very blinding as you go into turn one of Paddock Hill Bend. I don't know how they manage it there. Now they're heading on to Druid. Another tight hairpin coming up now as we still got some side-by-side action as we're seeing, I think, Victoria dropping down a few positions as well, which is not ideal for them as they make their way through the field. And we see, I think it's University of Portsmouth making their way. Is he there up to 7th? They started near the back and they're up to 7th. So something must have happened to them to gain those great places. Don't forget they've won the first race in Brazil a month ago, and now they were starting near the back and all the way up to 7th, Giles.
An absolutely stonking drive from the Portsmouth Alternative Fuel team. Aberdeen, meanwhile, having a stonking great off, and they are down into 20th. That puts Exeter in 19th. The Devonshire team will be somewhat pleased with that, I imagine. Aberdeen just not having a great time, completely losing it there. Just through driver error, there was no one else influencing that, and Aberdeen are heading into the pits. Was that an error, or was that a last-minute change of mind and heading into the pits? You're on board then. There's Bolton. Bolton down in 19th. What on earth has happened there? One of the teams that we always see fairly near the top, down in 19th. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. These cars, it looks to me like the tyres are already going away, and we've only been racing for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm a bit shocked as well that the tyre progression is that high, but it is a short lap, Brands Hatch Indy. It's around about 49 seconds. So that means the tyres will degrade somewhat quicker than what we see in the likes of Brazil. So we could see some more stops, and especially since the conditions are quite tricky for the drivers in terms of the sunlight that they'll be getting as well. So the braking differences will be absolutely huge compared to what we see in the afternoon time as well. So maybe that's what's not helping. And maybe they might not have much grip in these conditions as well. Imagine racing there in real life in tough, in colder conditions like this, as we're seeing Bath having a battle with Herefordshire going side by side, and also the number 5 as well. Trinity St David,
University
I believe,
Wales, Trinity St David. It's a three-way battle for 14th. Hertfordshire up in 14th, holding off Bath at the moment with all their might. Elbows out as they go down the start-finish straight. Looking to the outside are Bath, looking for the inside line. A fantastic bit of manoeuvring from Bath that puts them up into 14th position. And that is some great... Oh, look at that slingshot from the side. And I think Hertfordshire... Oh, there was a bit of a tap there. Hertfordshire vying to try and get that place back, locking up there. They almost had it, but just not quite. Hertfordshire doing really well to keep on the back door of Bath. Meanwhile, Wales Trinity St David just keeping it their ear out. They're going wide there. Oh, that's not good for Hertfordshire. That's not good at all. And through go Exeter, through go Bath. Hertfordshire then just losing it in the sunlight, the lens flare. Kicking the driver's vision out. Exeter up into 15th from 20th that we saw them in earlier. Fantastic result from them. Meanwhile, there is Cardiff down in 5th. They were in 3rd. They're down now in 5th, having Hull A and Liverpool John Moores University gone past them. You're on board with the Liverpudlians now then. The question being, what has happened to Cardiff to put them out of the top 3? Can they claw it back? 19 minutes of racing to go here at Brands Hatch. Formula Fords with Glasgow 1.2 seconds ahead. That is a ridiculous lead from the Glaswegians. That is more like it. That is what we would expect from Glasgow. Championship winners last year. You can see their Liverpool John Moores are on track, I think, for possibly their best result.
That is College Dublin and Bolton, and also the Red Dragons having a bit of an issue at the background. But we got Cardiff going into the pit lane. I wonder if it's for damage or if it's a scheduled stop. Bearing in mind, in Brazil, these were roughly the times when people were coming in that race. So I wonder if Cardiff Racing was struggling with their tyre wear, or maybe they were. I think it was just tyre wear, because otherwise they would have been in the pits a little bit longer, Giles.
It would certainly explain the drop in positions for Cardiff. A 2-position drop from the top 3rd. And, oh, hello. That's a bit of an interesting way of going about the pit stop, isn't it?
Yeah, I think did they miss their pit box? I think they must have.
I think they may have missed their pit box. But there we are. Southampton and Glasgow, your top 2. Southampton clawing back 0.3 of a second on Glasgow, trying to get within a window to overtake. It will come down, I imagine, to the pit stop. I don't believe these top 2 teams have yet gone into the pits. They must be coming up for their first stop. But bear in mind, they are so far ahead of the 3rd place car, Hull, who is 8 seconds behind Glasgow, that they don't need to really worry about it. Stopping on track, though, is that Hertfordshire?
That is Hertfordshire, Giles.
Absolutely gutting.
So it's been multiple spinners heading towards the final corner. I believe that's near the Clark curve in towards Bram Straight that they've gone off. And maybe a few people just getting a bit confused or they're struggling for grip. College Dublin and Hull B are now into the pit lane to serve. Well, it's not a mandatory stop, but it's one of their tyre stops to make sure their tyres can last a bit longer. So I would expect them to pit one more time. If they pit now. A few people cutting the grass there. That's Bolton. Oh my goodness.
Yep. They've been overtaken by Cardiff, who are on fresh rubber, but even Cardiff went wide. You're on board there with Kingston as they go through in the pits. Everyone is beginning to pit now. The leaderboard should shuffle back to what we were beginning to see about lap 2 or 3 now, as some of these drivers who've been holding off getting into the pits are finally putting fresh rubber on. That rubber going away like a bat out of hell. There is Liverpool John Moores. They are tumbling their way down the running order in 13th currently. Will they get out ahead of Kingston? Yes, they will. Kingston then, I believe, coming out there in 14th. Exeter in 15th. It's the mid-pack where a lot of the drama is taking place. University of Wales, Trinity St David are up into 9th. You're on board, though, with University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel as they peel off and head into the pits, weaving through that chicane that is there to slow the drivers down on pit entry. So they're now going down the running order as they get fresh rubber on. But bear in mind, some of these drivers have yet to pit. It's all happening here. 16 minutes of racing to go. Oh, this is very interesting indeed as Cardiff try and get past Victoria. They go through and they get past Victoria and University of Wales, Trinity St David in the same move. Victoria into the pits. Trinity St David not putting up much of the fight as Cardiff go through to take 9th. Up into 7th now as they go past University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel, who are coming out of the pits. A bit of a drift there from Cardiff. Up towards the bridge they go. It's changing down through the corner. Round, just clinging on. The trouble is, have Cardiff been too aggressive on their fresh rubber and put it down in its grip just to try and make up those places? Too aggressive, trying to get ahead of the pack who were inevitably going to come in for the pits. Going off there again. I think most drivers have been doing that, taking the wide line through that corner. On board then with Victoria, followed by Wales Trinity St David and University College Dublin, as Exeter are there as well. Oh, this is looking very tight indeed. This is very exciting stuff. A four-way battle for 12th. Exeter up into 12th. Side by side with Bolton. Oh, this is a bit hairy. You can maybe fit 2 through there, certainly not 3 or 4, as you're on board with Victoria, who go away from University College Dublin, University of Wales, Trinity St David. Up ahead of them, Bolton. You can't see them though. That is the gap that exists between Victoria and Bolton. So it could be a fair old while before Victoria have a chance to overtake Bolton. And they've got to contend with College Dublin and Trinity St David behind them. Glasgow, meanwhile, a whole 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Southampton and Hull 18 in 2nd and 3rd, respectively. But this is Glasgow's to lose, with just under a quarter of an hour left to go. Out on track, lap after lap, going away. Monty, our pit lane reporter, can you let us know whether the top 2 teams have gone into the pits? Because I'm not sure whether they have yet.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything on the stats to suggest that they have pitted yet, actually, Giles. I'm just looking at the live timings now, and...
I wonder, are they doing a one-stop?
Well, they could be either doing a one-stop or potentially they're doing a no-stop. I mean, they must have, because they're only 15 seconds ahead of 3rd place. So I suspect we must have missed them pitting, but I'm struggling to find the stats at the moment to confirm if they have or if they haven't. But no, if they hadn't pitted in, surely they'd be like 30, 40 seconds ahead.
Yet.
They haven't.
The top 5 have not pitted according to live timings.
Do you know, that would make much more sense
really
because they're all a lap ahead of everyone else then, actually. So perhaps they're trying to gamble and just go straight to the end.
So it's Glasgow,
that is a gamble.
Sorry.
No, carry on, Jess.
So it's Glasgow, Southampton, Hull A, Salford and Munster who have not pitted yet. Everyone else has pitted apart from Bolton, who haven't pitted. I thought Bolton has pitted, but my bad. But
so who's that going through then? Because that's Glasgow been overtaken by one of the back markers on fresh rubber. So
that's Exeter there. So yes, the pace difference is huge. Those on fresh rubber currently lapping at about 50 seconds, Giles. And currently, Glasgow's last lap was 53 seconds. So we're at a point now, they are literally lapping 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower than the back markers. But the back markers are, they're that much faster, but they've got a whole lap to catch up now.
This is going to be very interesting to see what happens. How long can Glasgow in the top 5 go without pitting? This is going to be one of those ones that comes down to the wire. We have seen it before in Formula Student Sim Racing, where teams, I think it was, in fact, Glasgow, they were so dominant in one of the races, and then they ran out of fuel on the last lap. And I just do wonder whether they might be a bit overconfident in their tyre life. Staffordshire, meanwhile, up into 14th. You're on board with them. You can
Southampton's
see Bolton
in.
ahead of them. Southampton are in then. Southampton, the first of the top 5 teams as we have it, to take a pit stop. They will lose position initially, but as we've seen, those on fresh rubber lapping 2 or 3 seconds quicker. There is Hull 18 coming in as well. Hull following Southampton's lead. Glasgow then. This is interesting, to say the least. Jess, you do a lot of sim racing. What would you have called strategy-wise if you were engineering for the driver in this situation? Have they made the right call here?
To be honest, they are starting to lose a bit of time, and I know. And speaking of that, they're in the pit. So, and someone's been in the pit lane. That is Cardiff, I think. Yeah, that is Cardiff. So that is a shame for them. But if I were the engineer, I know that in the F1 game, if you go for the undercut strategy, you gain, I think, about 2 or 3 seconds per lap, which is absolutely huge. And with a track like this, where the track is so short and then the pit lane is so long, the undercut is even more powerful.
Especially as Glasgow have been held up in the pits there, Jess. I think we could have a new leader. This is going to be tight.
We could have Southampton. We could have Southampton leading there in P2 at the moment. Could they take away the lead? Just about to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend.
That's
and yes,
ridiculous.
Southampton take the lead from Glasgow.
Southampton, leaders of race 1 of round 2 of Formula Student UK Sim Racing 23-24. Glasgow got stuck behind Cardiff, who had an off in the pit lane. And now the strategy, now that massive buffer that they'd spent so long building up has gone for naught, and they have got a half a second, in fact, in nearly a second, 0.9 are Southampton on Glasgow. Southampton, their tyres are 1 lap older. Glasgow will be determined to get through here as the traffic gets out of the way of the race leaders. Oh, that was tight indeed. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. We've got 10 minutes of racing here. Can Glasgow claw back their position, get back into P1? They qualified in pole. Their pit strategy looked to be working so well, but outside forces decided otherwise. They were stuck in the pits and Southampton just sailed on through. You could see Glasgow exiting the pit as Southampton barreled along the start-finish straight.
Oh, that's UCD.
That, meanwhile, is Exeter and University College Dublin having an off together. Exeter up into 13th as a result of that.
Yeah, well, stewards inquiries, remember, as well, so they think that they been forced off in some way, that it will be investigated, of course. Interesting fact, Giles, we've got one team that has not pitted yet, and they were, I think, a 1 driver entry, University of Salford. They have not pitted yet. They've been on those tyres for 17 laps, and they're around about 5 seconds slower than our race leaders. So I think we're going to see the likes of Liverpool, John Moore, try and catch up. Same with Kingston as well. So you never know, they could do a 0 start, but I don't think that's going to work.
It is a brave strategy, and I'm not sure whether Salford are leaving themselves enough time on the fresh rubber if they do stop to make up all the positions, and that has not gone well at all for Staffordshire as Bath went off, blocked the track on the racing line. Staffordshire had nowhere to go, and that has just stopped what was a consistent midway drive for Staffordshire, who are now down in 10th, having been overtaken by Munster. Bath there being overtaken by Hertfordshire on the inside, I think. Southampton in pole. Glasgow not within shout of getting past at this stage, even though they... Oh, this could be really tight, and it is going to come down to the last few minutes. I do wonder whether any of the drivers are going to make a pit stop, try and get in there.
I think some people may try and pit again out near the back, as we're seeing Exeter doing right now, but they probably got damaged. But the ones who managed to get their tyres lasting this long won't have to pit again. But the midfield, they pitted ever so early, so they're probably going to have to do one more stop with fresh rubber to see if they can make their way through the field. But Glasgow's looking ever so quick on behind Southampton. This could be a battle for the lead. We saw that in race 1 in Brazil a month ago. We're going to see the same here.
I'm on the edge of my seat. This is fantastic stuff. Going round the outside are Glasgow, desperate for the lead. They're within 0.2 of a second, 1/10 of a second. So close to touching. Are Glasgow and Southampton. Southampton still in the lead. 0.2 seconds ahead of Glasgow, who are so close now. It's unreal. And I'm just on the edge of my seat here. It looked like Glasgow were not within a shout of them. Within 1 lap, they just clawed it back and going wide there onto the apex, onto the grass. Southampton defending with all their might, not giving Glasgow an inch, sticking so tight to the racing line, defending magnificently from the Scots. This is so unbelievably close. Going round the outside. Are they going to make that work? No, they're not. They're going side by side down the start-finish straight. Glasgow just trying to find a way round, but the racing line is with Southampton, who've got the inside on this right-hand corner. Oh, my days! They go round the outside to Glasgow. This is fantastic. And there's traffic, and I can't look.
They're going through Druids now. They've got
a three-way.
It's a freeway out the left, cars, don't forget. So they've got to ignore them, but they're heading towards... I can't remember what corner it is because I've written it down somewhere.
Glasgow have got the lead from Southampton in the last 5 minutes of racing. What an absolute joyous battle. The finest example of student sim racing I've seen in a long time. That was brilliant.
And that is what these Formula 4 cars are as well. They're absolutely incredible. I think I remember watching Formula 4 quite recently because a few of the eSports drivers had a chance of racing it in real life, and it's absolutely incredible. Trinity St. David, by the way, they're coming in into the pit lane. Salford's still staying out. Now, if they get this through to the end and finish in 4th place, that will be a remarkable recovery from last to 4th that I've ever seen. But I probably jinxed myself here, as we've got the likes of Bolton, Bath and Herefordshire having a fight as well. We got Liverpool John Moore on the back of Munster. And we also got Portsmouth Alternative Fuel. It's all Alternative Fuel's going to try and go for a freeway battle in towards the Clark Curve.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic from Liverpool John Moore, who go through on the inside, followed very closely by Portsmouth Alternative Fuel. They both get ahead of Munster, who were holding them up, and now Liverpool John Moore is on the hunt for Salford, who, as we have it, have not yet pitted. Their rubber is ancient, looking a little bit squeamish through there. Definitely got the power down. Do the Liverpudlians. They are going to be determined to catch up with Salford, and now I'm beginning to think perhaps the reason Salford have managed to stay ahead for so long is that Munster were holding up Alternative Fuel from Portsmouth and Liverpool John Moore, and now it comes down to a question of, can Salford hold on as those with fresher rubber and a faster pace come on the hunt for them? With 4 minutes or so left of this race to go, I think they're about 14 seconds ahead, so they could still be all right. But bear in mind, that's a heck of a lot of laps. We've got a 50-second lap here at Brands Hatch. It's not going to take a lot then for Liverpool John Moore to make up that time and get within passing distance.
If John Moore's stay clean, guys, they are currently 4 seconds a lap faster than Salford. So if they don't put a foot wrong, I think we could see them on the back of Salford come the last lap.
I think we could as well. And on the last lap, by the way, they were 3 seconds a lap slower than their personal best. I'm looking at their delta. It's coming down and down and down, and it's not good. It's going to be 4 seconds, believe it or not. Their last lap, by the way, Giles and Monty, a 56.199, and the last lap for the likes of Glasgow were 51.0, Southampton 51.4, and the best lap was set by Liverpool John Moore of 50.802. So that is, I think Liverpool John Moore could get Salford, and it's, I think, a strategy blunder for them if they're not careful. I think they want this race to be over soon, don't they, Giles?
I think Salford are praying that the sands of time run out when we've got 2.5 minutes or just over of racing left. Glasgow have gone away again with the lead, 2 seconds ahead of Southampton in second, with Hull A-Team in third, Salford in fourth. In fifth is Liverpool John Moore University. University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel are in sixth. There is Cardiff down in 12th. They started in third, and for whatever reason, today has not been their day. Cardiff in 12th now, hunting down Bath in 11th. There is Hull B team, who also had a magnificent start, starting off in the top 5, and they just, again, had issues throughout the race, and they're down there in 19th. But for us, here in the comms box, most excitingly of all, it's going to be the battle for fourth, as it comes down to it, between Liverpool John Moore, who are lapping like a bat out of hell, and Salford, who are on rubber as old as my degree.
That is true, and I think they're getting even slower lap after lap as well. They managed to pull it back by 2 seconds, and they must have made a mistake in the last few laps as well, so I think they may have saved something in the tank.
Salford in the view of Liverpool John Moore University. You're on board with car number 50 as they hunt down a fourth position. 1.5 minutes or so left of racing, and can Salford hold on? Because meanwhile, Alternative Fuel from Portsmouth, they are right on the back on Liverpool John Moore. So not only is Salford going to have to contend with maybe losing 1 position, it's going to be 2. Down the start-finish straight they go. Heading towards that right-hander, they're going to go down the hill, into the valley, the gravel trap, waiting for over-eager drivers to make a mistake, up the hill and under the bridge, and there is not a lot separating these 3 drivers as Salford are under pressure now then. Looking to the inside, and it's almost inevitable. And there are so many cars here, and Liverpool John Moore go through very nicely indeed. Do Alternative Fuel manage to get through? Yes, they do. And they're trying to go through past Cardiff now as well, lapping Cardiff. And that's Salford. Who's that gone?
That's Red Dragon, I think.
Red Dragon have got, there's so much traffic here. It's difficult to keep an eye on who's who. But that is absolutely gutting for Salford, who have indeed lost those 2 positions. And shockingly, Alternative Fuel from Portsmouth have got through past Liverpool John Moore, who were so busy trying to keep an eye on, of course, Salford, that they weren't watching their rearview mirrors.
Yeah, indeed. And the traffic, and that's what this track is, the challenges are, is because it's such a short lap. There's going to be people that are going to be a lap down very, very quickly. Pretty much half the field are a lap down. Only the top 7 I'm on the lead lap. So that's going to make things even difficult for our race leaders with 10 seconds to go. And Salford are struggling. And look at the number 12. They're catching up. It's the Kingston on the back of this now.
And that's Cardiff off yet again.
That's a shame for Cardiff.
There is Kingston. Yeah, real shame for Cardiff. Glasgow, meanwhile, having none of that. They are 4 seconds ahead of the second place car, Southampton. Liverpool, John Moore go through ahead of University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel. Hull B team spinning off there. Not quite taking out Glasgow, but probably making them look in their mirrors as Glasgow just are going through then to take victory in race 1 of round 2, back where they belong at the top of the podium. Southampton take the checkered flag in 2nd, Salford them in 6th. And that is that Munster off. Salford will be very, very pleased about that. It gives them a bit of breathing space. Kingston go through to take 7th from Munster, who haven't actually crossed the line. They've gone off, and I don't think there's any recovery in the last few moments of this race. You're on board with Hull A. You can see the gap. This is the gap. This is how long we've had to wait between 2nd and 3rd. That's how huge the chasm is between Glasgow, Southampton, and Hull A, who crossed the line in 3rd. And Liverpool, John Moore, rightfully so. A fantastic battle from them. Well played, Liverpool, John Moore, as they cross the line in 4th, followed very closely by the Alternative Fuel team from Portsmouth, with Salford off. Their rubber is ancient, and it's a miracle that they've managed to hold on to this position. They looked across the line in 6th, I believe.
I want to see their tyre wear. I would want to see their tyre wear, because I think it'll be absolutely huge. Oh, they hit the wall, but they finished. They crossed the line, and then Kingston will be the last one on the lead lap, and they crossed the line as well. I would like to see, has Vigo come across the line in Server 2 to win that one, or is it something different? I would like to know who's won that one as well.
We'll get you those results as soon as we can. Salford then clinging on for dear life with a very bold strategy choice, but Glasgow had that race hook, line and sinker, barring a 5-minute stint where Southampton beat them on the pit strategy and took the lead. I'm out of breath. I'm exhausted. That's usually a good sign when it comes to sim racing. I absolutely love that. Jess, how was it for you?
My camera's frozen, so I'll need to fix that at some point. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It was, I think, pretty much action all through the field. And Glasgow, like I was saying, redeemed themselves there. Absolutely brilliant.
It was an absolutely fantastic race from start to finish, and we look forward to shortly catching up with the race winners for you. And we'll be bringing you the results from Server 1 and Server 2 for race 1. We'll go again very shortly with race 2, so do stick with us on the chat. A lot of love for Kingston as HighViz Media goes nuts for Kingston, and University of Birmingham Matrix going, let's go UOB. I should also add that we are racing in, the word's gone, Assetto Corsa is this game. Yes, there we go. Thank you very much to Chief Bentil Hutton. Incredible-ish says, Johnny the Tyre Whisperer. Could the Salford driver be called Johnny? And could he have managed to get more life out of those tyres than a defib on a heart attack patient? Because I am stunned that they didn't need to go into the pits at all. I don't think Salford went into the pits once during that race. Do correct me if I'm wrong. But that was absolutely stunning.
No, they haven't pitted at all.
I just can't get over that. For a race where the tyres were going away so vehemently in such a short space of time, for them to do that was ridiculous. So this is the thing. It all comes down to not only your driving, but your engineering strategy. And that's what we're trying to encourage at Formula Student in the sim racing. We've got our engineering challenges. We'll be bringing you the results from Engineering Challenge 1, the first of the year, very shortly. And for more on the engineering challenges, here's a bit of a VT for you. Roll VT.
For the 2023 Sim Race Series, as well as the monthly races, we've added an engineering challenge that runs between the rounds. So as well as the drivers who are competing in the monthly races, it gives an opportunity for more of the team members to get involved within the Sim Race Series, and it also allows us to dive much deeper into the engineering and the fundamental vehicle dynamics that the students, we want them to understand, both for helping them perform better in the races during the series itself, but it's developing skills that they'll be able to go on and use in industry, whether that's in mainstream automotive or in racing itself on the race engineering side. James, do you want to explain a bit more about the different content we've had in the challenge this year?
Sure, absolutely. So each challenge has been set on a different theme. Essentially, we're going into this as if the students are having to deal with a client, a racing driver, or a race team, and the client is coming up to them saying the car is doing X, Y, Z. So for example, one of the challenges will be that the tyres aren't behaving as we would expect it to be. So one of the challenges would be based on tyre pressures, camber, and toe-in adjustments. One of the other challenges would be talking about gearing, downforce levels. So we're focusing on specific point on a car's behaviour and getting the students to look through the data to try and understand the actual vehicle dynamic characteristics of that car and understand how they can make the car go quicker. It's not necessarily about having the fastest lap time at the end, but it's about being able to provide the information and the data to the judges to show sound reasoning as to why you believe this is the correct solution to adjusting that handling ailment of the car. We've come to the final challenge now, which is we're opening up all the parameters. It's going to be at Spa-Francorchamps. We're focusing on that classic cliche which every engineer faces at Spa-Francorchamps. Do you create a car setup prioritising top speed, or do you focus on sector 2 and maximise the downforce and go slow on the straights? Looking forward to see what the students can come out with.
I'm James Tatham. I'm a former University of Portsmouth student. I competed in Formula Student for 7 years, and I've been a design judge for the last 2 years at Formula Student UK, and I've been sim racing for 11 years. I'm a design engineer with previous experience in aerospace. Now I work for Kenwood designing kitchen machines. So,
James, we've been running the engineering challenges this year. You've essentially been leading the judging criteria on this and, for a better word, putting together the challenges in the sense of defining what it is we want the students to learn from this. So would you mind giving us a description of what it is we're looking for and kind of how the challenges were built?
So we created the engineering challenge to encourage the students to apply their engineering principles and practices into their sim racing. So the students are given a realistic brief, putting them in the position of a race engineer who has to engineer the car, varying the setup parameters in order to improve the lap time. So we've asked them to use the Motec software, which essentially is a data logging program within sim racing, so then they can analyze the car performance using actual engineering parameters and then applying that back into improving their lap time. So the judging is split into 4 categories: engineering approach, rationale, justification, and the lap time, which they set their time using the setup that they created. So the teams are asked to submit an A4 page, and that can effectively communicate the work that they've done to understand the car's characteristics and how they've improved the lap time by adjusting settings on the car, whether this is suspension, aerodynamics, tyres, or gears. This helps the student to improve their engineering communication skills, where being able to communicate complex data in a quick and efficient manner is a vital skill. It also helps develop their analysis skills, encouraging them to become more rounded engineers. And the engineering challenge scores go towards the Sim Racing Series championship points, so it helps the teams climb up the championship rankings.
What are we looking for? What are judges looking for in these challenges? How do the students submit the challenges for a start, and what is it we're looking for in these submissions?
So the students submit an A4 sheet of paper with a template that we set out that will then be split into the individual categories of engineering approach, rationale, and justification. And we really want to see that they take an iterative approach, looking at the data and using data-led decision-making to improve the lap time. The students may have to compromise on their setups, where, for example, if they're looking at aerodynamics, they can adjust their front and rear wings. Obviously, if you increase your wing angle, then it will impact your top speed. And if you decrease your wing angle, you'll have a higher top speed. So maybe in some corners you want more angle, and other corners you don't want as much. So we want to see them analysing the car throughout the whole track and actually determining what's the best setup, what's the best compromise throughout that lap to get the best performance out of the car.
Right, but they've only got a single page to put all this information down in, so is there a magic way of being able to get this information relayed?
There's no magic way to present it. It's just like an elevator pitch. In engineering meetings, you don't have much time to actually convey your message across from all your engineering analysis. So this is a great example where students can learn these skills already, where they have to do an elevator pitch essentially to us, communicate that information. So we want to see lots of graphs, because a graph is a really good way of presenting a lot of data. And it's up to the students to be as creative as they can to think of how they can communicate that information as effectively as possible to us.
What good and what bad examples have you seen so far this year? Without naming and shaming, but what has really stood out to you as being a good example of someone submitting their work? What didn't appeal to you best? Why were they given a weaker score?
We start on the positives. So the teams that have submitted the best entries have just been very clever at the way that they're communicating their information. They've been really clear and concise, and you can look at it and literally within 10 seconds you can pick up exactly what they're trying to communicate to you. And I think that's the most important thing. The analysis that they're doing, some of the teams are going into a lot of detail, which is very impressive, but obviously if you can't communicate that information, then it doesn't actually come across very well. So the best teams have been the ones that have communicated the best information across to us, and we can clearly identify what they're trying to show us. And they're looking at every single parameter, and they're really understanding the principles that they're applying. And it's not just guesswork, it is actually, applied theory into an engineering practice. So I think on the flip side of that, what you'll see is some of the teams that aren't as good maybe haven't done their homework and researched actually what the core principles are, what are the fundamentals that cause a car to understeer or oversteer. They really need to understand that, so then when they look at the data, they're looking at the right bit of data, and then when they're communicating that back to us, they're communicating it in a really efficient way. They've got a nice graph. Some of the worst teams, maybe they don't even have a graph to show us, and so we can't take anything from that. It's just a load of words, and that we can't just assume that their words are correct.
That's a very valid point you make there, and I think some of the feedback we've had from some of the judges this year is some of the submissions have been very word focused, and 1,000 words will speak 1,000 words. However, a graph, a chart can sometimes do those 1,000 words for you without iterating a single word.
Exactly, yeah. Actually being able to quickly glance at a graph, you can take so much more information from it than a big body of text. Especially as I'm dyslexic, it's not so easy to read. I think if it's just really to reiterate to the students how important this challenge actually is, it might look like a bit of extra work on the side, but really it's learning a lot of key skills that you need in industry. And those skills, once you're in the workplace, they'll take you further quicker, because you can already do something that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to communicate that data that you've collected and to churn that then into a result and communicate that effectively to your wider team. It's very important, and that will help you going through design reviews, going through all your stages in your engineering technical career.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, James.
That's all right. Thank you.
So that was a bit of a VT about the engineering challenge. So a massive shout out to all those involved as well. And we saw how Glasgow were doing absolutely brilliant there last year and last season. And speaking of Glasgow, we've got the first race winners on with us. Ibrahim Khan is joining us because he was the one racing in the car. Welcome to the commentary booth, and congratulations.
Thank you.
It seems like Glasgow is back.
Yeah. I would say we never left, but we are, I guess, back, if you say.
Yeah, because obviously race one didn't go to plan. You were sitting 21st in the standings. What was
Yeah.
what was the plan going into race 2? So it made sure that it wasn't a repeat going into this round.
Well, the plan was to hope for some better luck and just win the race. We usually start slow. Well, last season we started quite slow as well with some bad luck, and we brought it back throughout the season. So we're just demonstrating the same characteristic again. But yeah, same heavy grind. We also had the engineering challenge on this track, so it helped a lot for testing. We had a pretty dialed in setup from the engineering challenge. So yeah, just double prep basically.
Love to hear it as well. And I think that's why some people have done well as well. So you've done well in the engineering challenge, and you're more than likely going to do well here as well. And I have to say, your qualifying lap was absolutely sensational. Half a second quicker than the P2 University. Tell us how you found that track to drive in the qualifying conditions.
Yeah, they felt pretty standard to what we had in practice. It felt, car felt pretty alive, so I was able to put a pretty decent lap together. I was trying to get a 48, but failed that. But yeah, I was happy to get the pole either way.
You still got pole, even though you want to strive to be a little bit better as well. And you had a really great fight between yourselves and Southampton as well. And what was the plan of your strategy kept throughout, or did you have to change it halfway through?
We had a bunch of strategies laid up in place, thanks to like Elliot O'Nolek on the strategy. But we had a Southampton trying to do an undercut on us, which we had to immediately react, otherwise we'd just get completely gapped because of how powerful the undercut was. So yeah, we had to react immediately with the undercut, and then when we came to pit, we had a car in the pit entry, which didn't help.
That was Cardiff as well. That lost you a lot of time as well. But
yeah,
what were you told to do as soon as you left the push? I'm guessing you were doing a hammer time and wanted to push as much as you could.
I was just driving the same way I was before, to be honest, because you really couldn't. With this tire, you couldn't push at all. So like you're driving the same as lap 1 as you would lap like 15. You're just not wanting to put any energy into the tires. So I had one lap of tire advantage. So it also helped to know that I had the long-term advantage. So I just kept my head cool because I know it's so easy to, with how hard this combo was, to just keep my head down and just
Consistency is key. Consistency is key, as you were saying, which is great to see as well. We were talking about this before we were going live. You almost got caught out on the final lap by lapped cars. How difficult was getting past the traffic out there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them really because of how tricky, especially on really worn tires, it was so easy to spin. I think I had like 3 different tank slappers in the race. But yeah, it was like they were like being planted to take me out at some point. But it was a bit comical. But you know, it made it more interesting, I guess. But it definitely was a bit stressful. But we made it through.
Yeah, you almost lost the win then, but luckily it was a sigh of relief that you still managed to keep the win there as well. Race 2 coming up as well. Who's racing for your team next?
It will be Jack McCauley for us, and looking forward to it.
We know he's quick. What is his game plan at the moment?
His game plan is just to go as fast as possible and win the race. It's the same as
yours.
Before. Same as mine. Same.
I'm looking forward to seeing the qualifying laps. But just before you go and celebrate and concentrate on race 2 with your teammate, can you plug any socials you might have for yourself and your team?
Yeah, I'll plug JJRacing on Instagram, and myself I'll just keep private for now. But
fair enough.
JJRacing, go give them a follow, and
I think I'm following them as well, so that's good as well. But thank you, Ibrahim Khan, for joining us as well. We will let you go. Massive congratulations on getting the first win.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers, Jess.
So Glasgow is well and truly back. And before we get some race action underway, we have a very special VT for you from a Formula Student alumni that's gone from racing and taking part in Formula Student to working in Williams eSports. We saw in the VT a tour of the factory in race 1 last week, but this week, well, last month, sorry, but this week we are going to see a day in the life of Michael Preston, his journey from Formula student to Williams eSports. Roll VT.
Oh, welcome guys, we're at the Williams Museum. A lot of nice cars here. We are joined with Michael Preston, who was showing us around the eSports facility earlier. Now Michael, you actually were a Formula student yourself back in the day. So how did you manage to go from there to this as your work?
Yeah, so I started Formula student in my first year of university at the University of Southampton in 2017. By 2019-2020, I was, I guess, quite fortunate to become the head of race engineering for our team. Did that for 2 years, and then we had the first iteration of Formula Student Sim Racing in 2020 with the COVID pandemic. That went fairly well for us. We finished, I think, second overall in that year after having a bit of a calamity in the final. I won't put any blame to my fellow drivers, but I did my part. So yeah, we had that in 2020. Then we had the second iteration of it last year, where we ended up with effectively a LAN final at Silverstone that we had last year. And we went one better and finished first last year. So yeah, that's my Formula Student Sim Racing journey. We also had our, I think, the best year's point scoring for Southampton University in those years as well, helped by things that we were learning in Formula Student Sim Racing competition as well. Since then, I've always been interested in sim racing anyway, just as a hobby. I've played the F1 game since F1 2002, I think was my first one when I was 3 or 4 years old. Started sim racing properly around 2015-16 on the F1 games with a rig attached to my desk at home, which I then took to uni. So I've always had a flavour for sim racing, I guess. Coming out of uni, I was quite fortunate to have made some good friends at my university, one of which was working at Williams at the time and was informed about the sim racing team at Williams wanting to increase their engineering capacity. So that they were looking for engineers from the F1 team, but obviously F1 engineers have very, very little time to spare. And me being a fresh graduate straight out of uni with an interest and experience in sim racing, it seemed like a perfect fit at the time. So I joined the team, and we had a few senior engineers, we call them, in the team already, who are people with real motorsport experience. So they're people that are currently working in the World Endurance Championship, W Series, European Formula 3, all the way up to Formula 2. So we had a real wealth of experience already in the team, and it was an opportunity for me to come in, learn everything I possibly could about real-world performance engineering from them and try and apply it to what I already knew about sim racing. So for the last year and a half, I've been working with the team to bring and effectively translate what these senior engineers know from real-world motorsport and what I know about sim racing, and make a partnership between that and come up with a solution for engineering in sim racing. So our team currently has 4 or 5 senior engineers, and I think at the last count we were up to around 16 or 17 student engineers who we have working with us. So it's a proper full-scale engineering operation running our sim racing team at the moment, and that's all to service around 30 to 40 pro sim racers, not quite full-time, but pro sim racers. So the team has grown massively. We've just celebrated our 5th anniversary of Williams eSports as well. So in that time, it's gone from 3 people in management and a handful of drivers to well over 60 or 70 people. We've just hired a load of people for improving our marketing, our broadcasting capacity as well. So the team really is going from strength to strength at the moment, and also the carryovers into real-world motorsport are becoming more and more apparent with the improvements in sim racing as well. So the ever-improving iRacing, there's other simulators that are quite new that have a very detailed physical model in the game, so it requires the front-running hardware just to be able to run the game. All of this basically means that the data that is coming out of these games at the moment that we can analyse with telemetry software is as good as, if not on par with, the telemetry that you're going to be getting from a real car. And in some cases you can even get more detail from a simulation because it's just a physical model, so you can take forces that are going through the car that you wouldn't be able to even measure in real life. You just have to come up with some way to estimate what the forces are going through the tyres, for example, at any given moment when they go over a bump. In sim racing we can get actual real values and start correlating other things as well. There's the other side of things where all of the F1 teams now have their own, they're called driver-in-loop models, which is their big boy simulators effectively, so they'll use that to do hundreds of hours of testing before every single race and also during a race weekend to start correlating what they learn at the track and understand the challenges that they're facing at the track and try and solve them in a physical model back at the factory, because obviously the time that you have a track is very limited and the time that they can run the deal for is effectively unlimited.
That's a heck of a lot going on. That's a very exciting journey and a lot to keep you busy. But I have to ask though, Formula student, were you able to apply any of the skills you learned in the contest into the job that you're doing today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my first experience with Motec as a tool for analysing driver telemetry was as part of the Formula Student Sim Racing series, and the skills that I've learned in analysing driver behaviour from Motec and from the Formula Student Sim Racing series carry over not only into my job with Williams eSports but also in using other tools such as WinTax, which I use in the European Formula 3 series, which I'm also working on this year. So everything that I've learned about racing drivers effectively is coming from Formula Student and also sim racing, and I'm able to apply that to real world racing drivers as well.
I'm glad to hear that. Fantastic. Michael, thank you so much for your time. Just as a last thing though, I have heard in the news that you did win an award not too long ago as well. Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Williams Autosport Engineer of the Future Award, which I was fortunate enough to be the recipient of at the back end of last year. Congrats. Thank you. So the award used to exist in a different form where Williams and Autosport would invite students from a select few universities to do an assessment day at Williams, and that would be with the chief engineer, a few other engineers from within Williams F1. They would assess the candidates over one day and basically pick somebody that they think would be a good candidate for Engineer of the Future, and effectively what they're trying to find is their future technical director. So that ran for a few years. COVID hit again, and as with a lot of things, that managed to put a stop to that. So it didn't run for, I think, 2020 and 2021. Then in 2022 was obviously when I was starting my journey with Williams eSports and had effectively a full year to try and implement everything I wanted to, from real world engineering to a sim racing capacity. And fortunately for me, the people at Williams thought, oh, this is quite a good idea, that there's this young engineer coming along and he's learning skills that are really valuable to real life motorsport in a sim racing capacity, and that's quite innovative. And the whole point of the award is effectively to find an engineer that is being innovative and looking to the future. So that joined quite well with what the award was trying to achieve, and it also was quite a future-looking way of finding a new engineer through sim racing effectively. So over the course of last year, I was working solely with Williams eSports and sim racing for the first 6 months of the year, and then I was fortunate to go 2 race weekends with Carlin in GB3. So I was able to shadow one of their race engineers and also spend a bit of time at their factory, just learning, again, as always, about their processes, about how they work with their drivers, how they go about their race setup for a race weekend. They thought it was a good story and also a good pathway going from engineering graduate to real world motorsport, and that it's something that could be repeated as well. So that became the premise of the award, and we have relaunched the award in its full capacity for 2023. So we've just taken our first haul of new engineers who are working with Williams eSports for the first 3 months, so we're calling that phase 1, where they work solely in sim racing, and then the top half of students that are working with us will then progress to doing a task in the driver in loop simulator, working with the people from Williams F1, and then again the top half of those, which will be 3 or 4 engineers remaining at that point, will have the opportunity to go and work with Colin on a couple of race weekends and really follow that same journey that I did, going from sim racing to real world engineering.
That sounds amazing. I'm so looking forward to seeing what the students can get out of that one. It sounds like it's put you on the right step, and what an exciting journey you've had so far. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Again, congratulations for that award. Good luck for the future.
Thank you.
Oh,
And welcome back to round 2 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. You may have noticed something a bit different in that direction. Wrong direction. There we go. That's the direction we want to go in. But yes, unfortunately, Jess's camera has decided to go on strike, but we will be bringing you images of Jess as soon as we can. Welcome back. Very glad to have you with us as we go racing again at Brands Hatch in Formula Fords very, very shortly. We'll be bringing you the preliminary results from both servers in just a second. Are you watching? Apparently, there are about 80 or so of you watching. Where are you watching from? Who are you supporting? Plenty of people getting in touch. Andy Farmer says, come on, Cardiff. Meanwhile, Chief Bentil Hutton says, the drivers during the race are shouting, Borrow, my tyres are on fire. And he says he's cheering for Queen Mary Formula Student in London, England. Meanwhile, Denise, just one word, Kingston. So there's plenty of love for the various teams on the live stream chat. Do get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Who are you supporting? Where are you watching from? Because there's been a great deal of action so far, and there's plenty more to come. We've already had race 1, and with the preliminary race 1 results, I'll hand you over to the ever-reliable James Montgomery.
Well, thank you very much, Giles. Oh, this is lovely. The sound has decided to continue, so apparently we can hear you on this window as well, so you can join in the conversation. Right, so what have we got? So we've seen in the first race there, the top-tier server, Glasgow back, it's Southampton second, and it's Hull third. It's pretty much as we left off last season. Big name missing. Championship leader University of Vigo. They failed to qualify for the top tier server. They could only get into the middle server. So let's go and have a nose at those, because provisionally, yes, they've done the best of a bad situation there. They are currently the winners of the first race in the middle server. Queen's Belfast University are there in second, and University of Portsmouth's other team, the Electric team, finished third. Birmingham are fourth, York in fifth, Manchester sixth, with Queen Mary Formula Student in seventh. They were the big winners from, or big name from the last month. You remember they came from the back of the grid to finish second.
Fantastic drive from there.
Absolutely, really was. De Montfort from finish 8th, Stavanger 9th, and FSTN, that is Napier, rounding out the top 10 in the bottom server. As I say, we've got 44 cars racing tonight, so just because you're not seeing them all doesn't mean that they are all racing. Big winner, though, looking at this. We'll find out the full story later on, but it looks like Portsmouth Electric made up 20 places in their race. So yeah, that was from the back to the front for them, so fair play to them there. Really stonking drive. And yeah, hopefully as we move into the second race now, they will have an opportunity to make amends. Let's see if we can get onto the server though. So Giles, Jess, I'll hand back over to you. Give me a couple of minutes and let's see if we can get some live action, because I'm aware that they're just doing the last of their warm-up now.
Excellent stuff. Plenty of comments coming in here on the stream. Thank you so much for getting in touch, everybody. No Media says, come on, Queen Mary Formula Student. Matrix says, let's go, University of Bath. Anastasia, she says, Queen Mary Formula Student, let's go. Dawid says, come on, Kingston. Lockenstein, meanwhile, also supporting Kingston with a let's go. The Incredible Ish says, Salford, first, last, incoming. Second time lucky. It remains to be seen. A really bold strategy from Salford in race 1. No stoppage, and they managed to come 7th or 6th, I think, just about holding on. Jojo Scott, meanwhile, says, cheering for a McScottish for Aberdeen. And Elsie Lewis says she is the deputy manager, sat with our driver coach of Bolton Racing, watching along. Shout out to Dan and Austin. So keep your comments coming in, please. Dan Das Usba Bear says, let's go, Phil. I've got no idea who Phil is, but Phil, apparently, let's go. I can hear the sound of engines in my headphones. I'm sure you can too, Jess. Jess is back with us. She's fixed the technical gremlins. It's Christmas. It's the time of year for gremlins and Joe Dante movies, oddly enough. But there we are then, and we should be able to bring you the live practice session for race 2 then. Different drivers, same course, same cars. Formula Ford live from Brands Hatch. We're ready to go racing again. And what are you expecting to see in this second race then, Jess?
I think pretty much a lot of people looking like to make amends from the previous race, because there's certain teams that didn't do quite as well that we were expecting to do well. The likes of Bolton, for example, University College Dublin did very well in Brazil, but not as well here. But they probably have got to grips with the conditions, so they've probably done a lot better there as well. Glasgow looking to maintain their winning way. Southampton looking like they want to beat them, and they're both in the top server as well. We will talk about qualifying in just a minute. But one thing to point out, Vigo, unfortunately, our championship leader, for the second time tonight, they have not qualified to the top server. They qualified, I believe, on pole for server 2, but once again, they're not in server 1. And for those of you that are wondering why that makes a difference, you get more points for winning in server 1 than you do in server 2. So chances for Glasgow and Southampton
to line up on the grid. So let us go through your starters for the second race in the top server for round 2. And in pole position, it is Southampton who are starting in pole. In second, it's University of Glasgow Racing. They have swapped around for the second race. In third, it's Bath with a fantastic result there for them. In fourth, University College Dublin are there in sixth. In fifth, sorry, I should say. We've got Kingston there for you. Hull 18 are in sixth. Cardiff qualified in seventh here. Meanwhile, that is the Polytechnic University. They are in 8th. In 9th, it is Bolton. A lot of love for them on the chat. Aberdeen, another team who got a shout out on the chat. They're there in 10th. In 11th, it's Queen Mary, Formula Student, back in the top server after an absence in race 1. In 12th, it is Manchester University, and Liverpool John Muir are there in 13th. You've got me doing it now, Monty. That's an atrocious local stereotype. Meanwhile, Victoria are there in 14th. Great to see them back with us. Also back with us, Ion Racing are there in 15th. University of Portsmouth Racing Electric, they're in 16th. In 17th, they're from Devon. They are Exeter, and they are in 17th. In 18th, it is the Red Bird from Hong Kong. And University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel, well, I don't know what view that is. That's a tarmac. That's an interesting look. What on earth's going on there with Alternative Fuel from Portsmouth? They did rather well earlier on, but that's an interesting view. Nonetheless, meanwhile, we move back down to Salford, who are starting in 20th with a one-driver penalty. Their team hoping that they can get to the front of the grid. Plenty of confidence on the chat in that.
I would like to apologise something, Giles. I called
yes.
Red Bird Red Dragons earlier. I do apologise.
That's fine. I think we've both done it. We'll get there. We're going to have to
we'll get there. But we managed to go through all 20 teams without looking at the entry list once.
I know. Look at us sounding professional. Let's not point it out. We might not get brought back again. Anyway, Lockenstein on the chat saying, let's go, Giles. I'm sat here doing absolutely nothing but talking.
Why not me?
I'm not racing.
Joking.
Well, I don't know. Someone comment something nice about Jess for us. Meanwhile, Priam Argwald says, let's go, Queen Mary Formula Student, as does Inut Ilamascu, saying, let's go, Queen Mary. Toto Schumacher. Anything randomly taped says, come on, Manchester. And then Chief Bentil Hutton says, come on, Toto. So plenty of love for Toto in the chat. Not long now until we go racing. Your predictions, Jess?
I think it's going to be Glasgow that are going to do it 2 for 2, I think. But watch out for Southampton as they try to take their pole position into a race victory. So I'm really excited as well. Hopefully, Bath can have a better race than last time. Same with UCD as well. Great qualifying from them.
It's only a few seconds now until it's lights out here at Brands Hatch for the second time tonight. Round 2, Race 2, Formula Student UK Sim Racing 2023-2024. Can Glasgow make it 2 for 2? We're about to find out. Southampton on pole. Glasgow rounding out the front row in second. It's going to be a race for the line. Southampton have got the better start. They've got the inside line. Note that this is a right-hand curve. It's not a full straight, the start-finish line. It is a bending, sweeping right curve with a bit of camber on it. And Southampton will have the better start. They've got the better position. It's just a case of can they turn points into prizes, so to speak. Can they get the hammer down when it counts? We're about to find out then. This is going to be very juicy indeed. The revs are going up. The lights are on your screens now. 6 lights between these drivers and Racing Glory. What is the result going to be? 25 minutes time, we'll be able to tell you. 6 lights on. Here we go. Lights out and away we go. Southampton with an absolutely cracking start. Bath not fast off the line at all, being swamped by the rest of the field. University College Dublin and Kingston having a quick through there as Southampton take the first corner, followed by Glasgow. University College Dublin are up into third, as are Kingston. Bath have a calamity off the line, as do a couple of cars way far down the grid. University Portsmouth Racing Electric off then, as is Ion. Aberdeen are down, having been overtaken by Queen Mary Formula Student. Manchester down as they go. This is fantastic stuff. Wheel to wheel there between Southampton and Glasgow already. It's happened immediately. This is brilliant. On board then with Glasgow, looking for a way round Portsmouth. Can they make this work? They're within 0.3 of a second. Heading to this right-hander, just on the outside, wondering whether they can get through here. We're already down the first lap. Glasgow barreling down, waiting to break late, going to the outside. Not enough room there.
Oh, there's Kingston! Kingston's gone off!
Slipping out. Oh, I told you.
Oh,
I
my goodness.
And it's caught right in the racing line, and it is absolutely upset the rest of the field in a big way. That is going to change the order completely of the race tonight.
That's the University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel that's gone to the back of the grid, and they've got damage as well, which is not ideal. So Kingston call it Constantino effect, and Glasgow looks like they were going to go for a move through 30s there as well. Now going in towards curve for the second time tonight as well. And look at University College Dublin, a lot better start compared to what we saw in the first race. They're doing a lot better. This is the University College Dublin that we would like to see as well. Glasgow going to try and go for a late lunge in towards Paddock Bend, but doesn't work, unfortunately. University College Dublin looking to capitalise on that. They bang wheels a little bit. Glasgow on the gravel track. College Dublin are going to follow them through. And it's going to be very close between them and Southampton through Druids, one of my favourite corners on the circuit. Through 30s now. Can they upset the pole man of Southampton? University College Dublin at the moment are up into second, and Bath are joining in this fight as well. Crazy, Giles.
This is absolutely stunning. A real balls to the wall move from Glasgow that got them into first round. Southampton got swamped by Glasgow, and College Dublin thought, thank you very much, I'll have a bit of that. You on board with Bath? The top 4 are fairly close together. Glasgow already pulling away with a 1.1 second lead. 0.1 seconds between Glasgow, Southampton and University College Dublin. Southampton go through on College Dublin on the inside. College Dublin trying to find a way round, sticking to the outside, looking through the slipstream. Bath taking a wide line there, just wondering whether they might be able to get through around the outside. Not close enough are Bath, but we've got a great view with them. It's a 4-way battle for third. Coming in then behind is Hull 18, not too far away from the back of Bath. Bath now and College Dublin going together in a duel for the final podium position. Bath going in the inside. Can they make this work? Just about, it looks to me. Almost wheel to wheel. Glasgow are in first. Southampton in second and just about in third. Oh! Bath have gone. Bath have lost it.
Oh, no. I think College Dublin are gone too.
This is unbelievable. Oh, what on earth is going on with College Dublin? A complete tank slapper there. They're backwards across the track, onto the gravel trap, nearly taking out the rest of the field with them. On the racing line, it's a bit squiffy through here. And University College Dublin are down in 17th. And I'm so excited, I've got to take my jacket off.
Yeah, commentators curse Giles, I think, unfortunately, as we have another spinner. That's Aberdeen. That's Aberdeen. It's off. They're struggling around this gravel trap, as you were saying, Giles, to get those tyres up into temperature. Hole A doing great, and look at who's in 4th place. Bolton are back in business, baby. They were struggling in the last race. They're doing a lot better as well. We've got Glasgow and Southampton fighting, and also we got who's in 6th place? I can't remember who's in 6th. So that's the Norwegian team in 6th place, and they're going into the pits for an early pit stop.
That's a fairly early call, but they might be making the right choice here, because
I wonder if it's a one-stop.
The pressure rubber they're going to be on. It could be a one-stop. I don't know. I would have been pitting this early, as are someone else is coming as well. Who was that?
That is Kingston.
So Kingston and Stavanger both calling it fairly early on. Could be going for a 2-stop, I wonder. If they really do want to rag it with this fresh rubber, they would have time for a second stop if they want to go for one.
We see now
Really
the undercut is so powerful in the first race, so it could
really
work.
is. There is.
That's Red Bird, not Red Dragon.
No, indeed. But channeling the same intensity as Bruce Lee as they barrel down the start-finish strength. Exeter ahead of them, not far between these two drivers in 7th and 8th. On board with Red Bird from Hong Kong. University Portsmouth Racing Electric, meanwhile, trying it out with Manchester, who've just gone through on them. They've taken 14th from the Portsmouth team. And now is the time that people are beginning to make their first pit stops. Notice though, was that Victoria that had a bit of an off? I think that might have been Manchester.
I think it was Victoria and maybe Manchester as well. University of Portsmouth.
They're small, they're buzzy, there are a lot of them, and they're all flapping about. It reminds me of a swarm of bees. You're on board with the Red Bird from Hong Kong.
And they're battling with Salford and Bolton.
Salford and Bolton, then. Bolton ahead of Salford just about, going on the inside. And I think Salford have lost it quite badly there. They're going to be
how they kept the
about
car
that.
under control, that was crazy.
It's a wonderful drive, having started at the back of the grid. Have Salford. Their team will be praying they can get onto the front row, as they've said on the stream. But the question is, what strategy are they going to be going for? Portsmouth Racing Electric are off.
Yeah, they're down in 19th as well, and already a lap down. But don't forget, there's a lot of drivers that have not pit on their first stops yet. If I was Southampton and Glasgow, I would potentially do the same as they did in the first one, manage your tyres, and looks like they're going to fight again in towards Druids.
Southampton have got into the lead then.
Southampton
We've missed this.
line.
Southampton have taken the lead from University of Glasgow with 0.4 of a second. It's opening up immediately, the gap between Southampton and Glasgow. What happened there for Glasgow to be down in second suddenly?
I'm looking at the replay. It was around Druids, and they took the lead from them. We did see it. We just thought that Southampton was defending, but it wasn't Southampton defending. It was Southampton attacking and taking the lead.
Wonderful stuff then, as Glasgow are down in second place, and it's almost 2 seconds already between Southampton and Glasgow. A monumental lead opened up there.
And who's off there? That's Hole A.
Hole A, as are Exeter, who are sideways round the final corner before the start-finish straight, heading towards paddock curve.
And that's Exeter that's round. I wonder if they're going to come in. Salford's in. Now, they're doing the opposite to what we saw in the first round.
Yeah. It's the first time we've seen Salford in the pits this entire evening.
Exactly. Their first ever pit stop. Well, not first round, first race. Well, round 2 this evening.
So, Salford taking a different approach in race 2. Could this pay dividends, and could this get them back up where they want to be? They were in 6th or 7th earlier. Had a bit of an off. The rubber clearly dead on its wheels. Going down the inside past Liverpool John Moore. Making that look very easy, are Salford, as they try and get back towards the front of the pack on this fresh rubber, leaving no part of the track untouched as they use up everything and a little bit more of the racing line. Meanwhile, there is the Red Dragon, Red Bird, and Aberdeen are off. Aberdeen off in a big way. Lucky for them, looks to me like Manchester, University Portsmouth Racing, Electric, Victoria and Kingston aren't within touching distance to make any difference to Aberdeen's position. They should be able to recover from that okay. Hull 18 in the pits as Liverpool John Moore go through. Salford up into 8th now as they overtake Ion, and Hull A in the pits down into 12th as it stands. They are, though, on fresh rubber. Not everyone has pitted just yet. A gap of 2.5 seconds exists now between Southampton and Glasgow. You're on board as Hull A exit the pits, and your top 10 look like this. Southampton in pole, in first position. They've overtaken Glasgow, and they've opened that gap up to 2.5 seconds. University of Glasgow are there in second. Bolton in third. Cardiff in fourth. Poly University Technica in fifth. Bath in sixth. In seventh is Exeter. Salford in eighth. And in ninth, it is Ion Racing rounding up the top 10. Liverpool John Moore. Salford on an absolute charge. They're up into seventh now as they overtake Exeter, who are left behind, but they're not quite willing to give it up yet. Looking to the inside of that first corner off Paddock Curve. Could they make a move? Not close enough are the Devonshire team, as Salford are now in seventh on that. Oh, and that's not gone well. That's gone badly wrong for a number of teams. Ion go through. Exeter taken out then, and that's going to be gutting for the team who were doing really rather well. Was that a back marker that took them out? I don't believe anybody else has lost a major position, so I think
it might be. It might be one of the back markers. It was Manchester that gone off.
Absolutely gutting for the team from the southwest of England. That is not what they're going to want to see. A Manchester car right on the racing line.
Meanwhile,
Cardiff are in fourth, and they are chasing down Bolton then. And they look to the inside. Bolton go wide. Not quite enough.
That's Aberdeen. It's Aberdeen.
Sorry. It's Aberdeen. It says Bolton.
It's Aberdeen's a lap down.
Oh, it's a back marker. Oh, I see. Cardiff not within touching distance at all of Bolton, who are in fact 12 seconds ahead. In fact, what we're seeing now is Aberdeen in between Cardiff.
Someone's in the pits. That is number 10.
Glasgow
Glasgow's
Racing
in as well.
That
is interesting. So they went for the overcut last race and responded to Southampton. Now, Giles, Southampton have to respond to Glasgow.
This could be very interesting. Cardiff then up into third, with Bolton in second. Southampton leading this race then, a gap of 4 seconds between fourth and third. In fifth, Salford go through into fourth though. Very nicely done. A monumental drive from the Salford team. Those on the track will be very pleased with that. Southampton have responded to Glasgow as they take their first pit stop with a 10-second lead on Bolton. Can they get in and out in time to stay in first position, or are Bolton going to go through? Bolton looking to try for the overcut, as I don't believe Bolton have been in yet.
I will check the timings in just a moment, Giles, and keep you updated, but
Bolton have gone through, as have Salford now.
Glasgow, we'll see where they are as well between Southampton. That's going to be very tight in the pit lane.
Southampton go out ahead of Salford and Glasgow as they're off in the background.
That was close.
That was very close indeed. Drivers very lucky there to hold on. A couple of drivers didn't miss that. I don't think Cardiff and Polytechnica missed that at all. I think they got caught up in it. Southampton.
No, they're in the pits. They're in the pits.
Second. They're in the pits. Thank you very much, Jess. Do apologise for my error. Southampton
no, don't apologise, Giles.
Have got it all to do. Southampton have got it all to do then. They have now got to complete what Glasgow were able to do on them in race one on Bolton in order to get back into first position. Jess, are you able to confirm for me, Bolton, have they pitted yet?
Oh,
I am.
Oh, that was good timing,
Giles. There we are. They're in the pits there. Absolutely wonderful for them. They've got Southampton have gone through, as have Glasgow, as have Salford. Salford are in third. This is brilliant from Salford, and it's a big battle for the top 3 positions now. You're on board with Glasgow, sandwiched between Salford and Southampton, hunting down Southampton, getting very close indeed. This could be close, not quite enough there to make a move. Looking to the inside, possibly. Covered off by Southampton. Great defensive driving from the first place team, who know that if they look in their mirrors, it's going to be black and yellow. It is Glasgow who are going to be determined to make it 2 for 2. And they go round the outside of the final corner, not close enough to be able to make a move, but can they get the jump on Southampton into paddock curve? Can they go down the inside? They're slipstreaming down the start-finish straight, looking to the inside, not quite enough of the move, breaking out to the left, breaking out to the outside of the first corner. Still not close enough to vie for the first position. Wheel to wheel now they go. Round the outside are Glasgow on Southampton. Southampton still making it stick. Glasgow switch to the inside. Still not quite enough. Southampton are ahead by a nose. This is brilliant stuff. Glasgow looking to the outside, sweeping round to the inside now. This is good. Can Glasgow make this work through the chicane? This is where it's all going to be make or break, wheel to wheel. Will they touch? Glasgow have got it. Glasgow are in the lead for just about a second. But Southampton switch back through on the inside and they take back first position towards the start-finish straight. As they go through, we have it. Southampton in first, Glasgow in second, Salford in third, wheel to wheel, side by side through paddock curve again. Glasgow, can they make this work? Looking to the inside, sweeping round through. Southampton defending. Yes, again. Going wide are Glasgow. They can't make it work. Going round to the inside now, looking to the apex. But Southampton cover them off, looking up to Glasgow. This is unbelievable racing. Right on the ragged edge of the limit. One mistake could spell disaster for either team. Only a tenth of a second between them. Glasgow looking to the outside, getting onto that apex. This is a great move now from Glasgow. They're side by side. They go down. They break hard, and Southampton are ahead. And it looks to me like they've lost a fair bit there. Salford are in third. Southampton, though, are in first, the all-important first position, as Glasgow fill the mirrors of Southampton. But Glasgow seem determined, and they go out to the outside. Southampton braking hard, change gear rapidly. This is unbelievable stuff. The sun flaring off their visors as they go under the bridge. You can't see Glasgow in Southampton's mirrors because they're ahead of them. They're ahead of them. They've done it, darting down the inside, a monumental move from the Glaswegians as they get up into first. And could this be 2 for 2 for Glasgow?
Everyone has pitted, Giles. Everyone has done at least one stop. The track conditions are getting cooler than the first race. So for drivers like Glasgow, they got to work to make sure that they can keep Southampton ahead of them with only 8 minutes to go. As
and they're not going to by the looks of things.
Southampton to the right.
That could have been a move from Southampton. Southampton is side by side with Glasgow. Glasgow slotted ahead of them. Defensive driving now for the first time in this race from Glasgow, as they are now ahead, and Southampton will be desperate to get ahead of them. This is just brilliant. Yellow and black for Glasgow, blue for Southampton. You can't take your eyes off this for one moment. And yet we have, because Salford are in the pits. And what is this going to mean for the team from Salford as they are down into fourth? And there's a fair bit of drama down further in the middle of the pack. Cardiff, Hull, Liverpool, John Moore, everyone darting into the pits now.
With 7 minutes to go, making their second stop. More drivers, it seems to me, in this race than the race one, doing 2 stops, it looks like.
It's the strategy I would have gone for myself, I will admit. Going down the inside of Southampton, trying the same thing again. Not quite enough for Glasgow to be down into second. They hold on to first. Under pressure from the blue of Southampton. Round the outside go Southampton, looking to copy the moves that Glasgow pulled on them. Sweeping and darting, switching it back. Not quite enough room there to make a move as the black and yellow stays in front. Sweeping, darting, looking for a way round are Southampton, but they just can't. The number 1 and number 2 cars are side by side, and Glasgow are just ahead. Southampton nearly repeated the move that Glasgow pulled on them, but not quite, and they are inches away from each other, wheel to wheel. Out onto the grass goes Southampton. Glasgow just about in the lead, and they miss it. Glasgow all the way. That's a 0.3 second gap, closing it up again, going down the inside. Can Glasgow stay ahead? No, they can't. It looks to me Southampton have ragged it, and Glasgow are gone. Glasgow are gone. And that's a 2. Wow. What happened? We were on board with Southampton. They were so close. Southampton swept in on the inside, and Glasgow all of a sudden 2.5 seconds down immediately. So they must have gone off. I didn't see it. Jess, did you?
No, I didn't see it.
If you have a look at, there was a very, very small glimpse of a yellow car going up on the outside of the last corner there in Southampton's mirrors. So it looks like Southampton pressured Glasgow into a mistake and they made an unforced error. I was going to say the key thing was Glasgow, yes, they had the advantage, but they had the older tyres. Yes, it's only one lap, but with a ×4 tyre wear, this is exactly what we're seeing. So suddenly Southampton could come back again, because their younger tyres were suddenly making a difference. And, yep, much harder to handle. Glasgow falling off, but it's not over yet. What can Salford do? We saw what was happening in the first race. 4 second a lap difference by the end. So can Salford come back and claw back all of them on their fresh rubber? Is Southampton, are they going to spin off? Are they going to find a back marker? So many unknowns, guys.
Indeed, we've got just over 5 minutes of racing left. As Southampton open up the gap to Glasgow. You might have noticed I'm a bit out of breath. That was one of the most monumental battles I have seen in my time as a commentator on this series. That was utterly blockbuster.
It was
Meanwhile,
insane.
there is University College Dublin in 12th. Ahead of them, Hull A. Ahead of them, it is Redbird. Meanwhile, behind them, Exeter, who will be vying to get back into the top 10. They're down in 13th at the moment. On board with College Dublin as they look to the inside of Hull A. Not quite enough of a room to make a move round them, but they are fairly close. Going down the inside now is the moment to make it stick as they head towards the start-finish straight. They barrel down through. Can College Dublin out-accelerate them? Yes, they can. And they are up into 12th. Are they ahead of Hull A?
I think they're not. Whole A still ahead of them at the moment, but we also got Bath and Polytechnic. Oh, Polytechnic's gone, lost a few places in the background. They spun! They spun!
They're sideways on the right. Ooh, just about. Oh, that was close. That was Wallace and Gromit close shave.
That was
Bloody
that
Nora.
was so tight. That's probably the tightest thing I've seen in a while. As we got...
This is just brilliant. Meanwhile, Cardiff are in 6th, if anyone was interested, because
yeah, Cardiff in 6th. They're doing a lot better.
Drama. There's been no drama from Cardiff in the slightest. Just
we got
sidling on
side-by-side action in the background, or was it lapped cars? I can't really tell, to be honest.
Exeter there in 13th. Meanwhile, back down in 16th is Victoria.
Right. I think that's what Glasgow was struggling with in the first race. We were chatting with them and it was quite crazy. So I wonder if that's why Glasgow had a bit of an issue in this race as well, with 3 minutes still left on the clock.
Absolutely stunning racing from everyone involved tonight. But it looks to me like Southampton, unless something goes majorly wrong for the team in first, are going to have this with a gap opened up on Glasgow of 5.5 seconds or so. You're on board with Victoria. Surprised to see them this far down after some stunning performances in the series last year. They're down there in 16th. Ahead of them, Queen Mary, Formula Student. Their first appearance in Server 1 this race. They're in 15th on your screens there. Meanwhile, over on the chat, there have been some great reactions. Man. Salford versus Bolton Part 2. Meanwhile, shout out to somebody whose name I won't be shouting out to. Fream, you're too cheeky. Keep at it, Bolton, says ex-Pinta. Meanwhile, Salford trying the bold strategy of pitting. Let's see if it pays off. That is the question. Is it going to work for Salford and their pitting? Because they didn't pit in the last race. And Chief Bentil Hutton says Toto is recovering again. He's a sim racing god, and that battle was incredible. Couldn't agree more.
That was really incredible, not gonna lie.
You're on board with Polytechnic. They are ahead of University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel. You can see them on your screens as well. Polytechnic about half a second or so ahead of the team from Portsmouth. Not close enough to make a move yet, but they could well be within that window within the next couple of laps. Should be noted, Southampton and Glasgow have completely gone away from the rest of the pack. 12 seconds between Bolton and Southampton, 6 seconds then between Bolton and Glasgow. And those are the top three. Yet again, it has been a tale of two teams this race so far. Hull 18 down in 12th on the approach to College Dublin, and Redbird and Liverpool John Moore, all of them building up down the start-finish straight, heading towards Paddock Curve, on board with College Dublin.
This is for
This
position.
is looking like they're going to try and make a move down the inside on Redbird, not quite within that window to make it work safely, and they have to wait. Oh, and look, Redbird lose the tail, and they've gone. Redbird have gone wide, and College Dublin go round the outside, and it looks to me like they could almost have this, but not quite. They go wide onto the grass, and Redbird managed to stay ahead just about, but there's only a nose separating them. College Dublin having a right old sniff round the rear end of the team from Hong Kong, looking to the outside, trying to find a way round, and that's a very interesting move there from that is Hull just getting a bit cheeky.
Hull A, for example, and
I'm not
they're
convinced
definitely
College
gone
Dublin are
off
going to be
there.
pleased about that.
Yeah, they're not going to be too pleased about that. But meanwhile, it's not that long to go until the end. They're on the final lap, Southampton, as they head towards Druids for the final time. Currently leading by around about quite a bit.
10 seconds.
What happened to Glasgow?
I couldn't tell you, Jess, but what I can tell you is I think we are about to have a different race winner in race 2 of round 2. They had a fantastic wheel-to-wheel battle with Glasgow. They've come out on top, and they have held their own through the final few corners. Go Southampton. Could you be looking at your race winners for race 2 of round 2? I really do think so. The final corner is there. The start-finish straight is here as Southampton come across the line, and they take victory in race 2 of tonight's round of Formula Student Sim Racing 2023-2024. Glasgow, who looked so strong until recently, crossed the line with a 10-second gap between them and Southampton. Bolton crossed the line in 3rd. Salford followed through in 4th, having started from the back. Yes, again, another monumental drive from Salford. Bath come over in 5th.
I think Southampton were not on a mission. I think this is a story, Giles, of redemption. We saw Glasgow struggling in Brazil. They went on to win the first race. Southampton, they just missed out the win in race 1. Guess what? They went to win on the second race, which is absolutely incredible. Some huge other stories as well. Bath doing brilliantly. 5th place. Salford, 4th place after starting last. I mean, them one driver entry is... I'm just trying to think. I hope it's the first time they're doing it, because if it's not the first time, they're going to lose out on some of their points. But if it is the first time, they're still going to get maximum points. As we're seeing Cardiff doing drifting. Like to see it.
Cardiff
that was
getting
the
very
AI,
sideways
of course.
and just losing it. Meanwhile, Liverpool John Moore are in 9th. So let's round out the results, can we? Southampton take the lead. Glasgow in 2nd. In 3rd was Bolton. Salford in 4th. Bath in 5th. Cardiff in 6th. Polytechnic in 7th. University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel take 8th. Surprisingly, didn't see a lot of them. Just managed to sneak into the top 10 quite nicely there. Liverpool John Moore in 9th. And rounding up the top 10, University College Dublin for race 2 of round 2 of tonight's Formula Student Sim Racing. Jess, how great was that?
To be honest, I thought that nothing could top race 2. No, race 1, sorry. But race 2 was absolutely electric. I mean, it was really fun.
It was a slow burner of a race. It started off and it was fairly general. I thought, oh, we might be having a calm one here. And all of a sudden, that wheel-to-wheel between Southampton and Glasgow was the stuff that commentators' dreams are made of. My lungs, maybe not so much. I did run out of air a couple of times, but I was just absolutely beautiful. Jess, who was your driver of that race? Because for me, I can't choose. I
can't choose. I really can't choose. They all had a point to prove. They wanted to beat their main rivals, and because the lap is so short, it meant that they didn't have enough time during that lap to get past each other, which meant that we got some more side-to-side battles. And shame for Glasgow to fall off the pace like that. I think they're going to figure what they've done wrong in the second race, because the first race they were amazing, but the second race, maybe their tyres, maybe they didn't manage the tyres enough. Maybe where Southampton they managed it more.
That off that they had cooked their tyres.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially
so
with
that's why they lost the pace.
Degradation. with that times 4 degradation on them. If they locked up, flat spotted them, there's no coming back from that. And the trouble was they weren't in a position to make a pit stop because the third place team was only 3 seconds behind them, so they would have lost that. So they just had to hold their own and stick with second. So I can see why they may have done that. We're going to be catching up with the winner of that race very, very shortly. So do stick with us and keep coming with those comments for us. I'd love to hear from it. Chief Bentil Hutton says, well done to Southampton and Salvatore. Meanwhile, Elsie Lewis says, well done, Bolton. Awesome work. Messa says, shush. I don't know why. I mean, I can't, and neither can Jess. It's our job to talk. Meanwhile, and then Harmesh Jutha is just over the moon. Southampton P1. It was a great race from start to finish. Absolutely wonderful. Grand Prix Alessio says, Southampton massive. So, yeah, I mean, everyone over the moon with the results for their teams. And we will hopefully be catching up with Salvatore very shortly from Southampton. Jess, I got to say, it was interesting to see Salford in the pits tonight.
Yeah, I think the first time they realised it may not have worked as intended by pitting, so they probably learnt from their mistakes and pitted the next time and they got a better result. That's why I like having these 2 races, because if you made mistakes in the first race, you can analyse the data that you had as well and think, right, how have my rivals gained on me? And that was the fresher rubber. And that's why the 4 times tire progression, I think, is just so important in this in sim racing, in the Formula Sim Racing series. So yeah, I think they learned a lot.
Hats off to Monty and the team who have come up with this 4 times degradation, because it immediately causes the drivers to have to think about strategy. And remember, Formula Student isn't just about wheel-to-wheel racing. We can't do it at the live event because racing licenses and paperwork, so we do time trials. So it becomes more than just the racing and who's got the bravest right foot. It becomes a question of engineering. It becomes a question of strategy. And I love that aspect of it just as much as the racing itself. And I got to say, a huge shout out to Salford, because you could see immediately they learned from their mistakes and they improved on that result. So although they weren't there battling for the lead, hats off to them, because it was a great drive to be going from the back of the grid up into 4th and to make good on the promise they showed in race 1. That was absolutely fantastic.
And hopefully we can hear from them as well and see what they learned from race 1 and going on to race 2 as well. And it's a shame that we don't have any more races until the new year now, because to be honest, I'm hungry for more. I really am hungry for more after that one, and I'm sure everyone in chat is hungry for that too. And I want to see how that reflects the standings, because it's going to be ever so tight between Southampton and Glasgow. Obviously, Vigo, they're in Server 2 tonight and not in Server 1, so we'll see if they lost the lead of the championship or not. It's going to be close on that one. Some good recoveries from certain drivers. It's going to be all about that consistency. Consistency is key in the championship, and they pretty much have a month to learn, reflect on what they've learned tonight, and see if they can improve for round number 3. And plus, they got the engineering challenge to think about between now and round 3.
We've got the results from the first engineering challenge to bring you later on, so do please stick with us. Although we haven't got more racing, we'll have a catch-up with Southampton. We will also, of course, be bringing you the results from that race, the preliminary results, and the engineering challenge results as well. So that's all to come. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be brilliant. Over on the chat, I've got no idea who Theo is, but Sandy Burgery says, Theo, you're my idol, with a great number of exclamation marks, a lot of exclamation marks, to the point that I would suggest someone might want to go and check on Sandeep. He seems very excited. So Theo, we might be getting hold of him very shortly. Theo looks to be the driver behind the wheel of Southampton. We're trying to get in touch with the driver from Southampton so I can have a chat with him, which I really want to do. So if you can get in touch with Theo quicker than we can, please do, because I'd love him here in the commentary box. I'd love to have a chat. I did hear a notification tone. Are we go, Monty? Have we got hold of him?
Oh, I wish we could say yes. He's trying to get the link to work at the moment, and his microphone to work. So he's on Discord. That was definitely Discord that you just heard with the bleep there. I can see his camera's now starting to work. So give us another 30 to 60 seconds, and hopefully we will be able to show you guys the myth, the legend that is Leo. So if I bring him into our chat now, Oh, let's see if that
I mean,
works.
this is
Drum
this
roll,
is slick as it gets.
please.
Just great filling right here on Formula Student Sim Racing. Welcome to the other side of professionalism, where we lurk, shall we say. We're free. And I think that's pretty much the major qualifying factor. But we will be bringing you a catch-up with the driver from Southampton in just a moment. Very excited to be talking with Theo. That was absolutely gorgeous racing from start to finish. So do stick with us.
Alrighty. Let's see. Theo, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Woo! Over to you,
Theo,
Giles.
welcome to the commentary box. What an absolutely monumental drive that was. Congratulations on the race win.
Yeah, thanks very much. It was a really challenging race with the tyres, especially because after like 4 laps they would go off, and then after like 10 laps again you'd hit another cliff and they would just drop off completely. So it's really challenging keeping the tyres in and basically just keep it on the track in the last sort of 5 laps of each stint.
And how does wheel-to-wheel racing work on tyres that are going away so quickly, especially under pressure? As soon as you put the foot down, those tyres are going away, and you were battling heroically with Glasgow for that win, but in the back of your mind must have been, don't cook the tyres. How was that for you behind the wheel?
Yeah, it was really challenging. I think the battles that we had were sort of towards the start of the stint, so the sort of cliff that I was talking about in the last 5 laps, I didn't really hit that, but you're really having to underdrive the car just to make sure you avoid contact, because any sort of contact that ruins your race really, and you risk a penalty as well. So we want to try to avoid that, especially with our challenging, let's say, round 1. It's been great to bounce back with a second place in race 1 and a win in race 2.
Absolutely. So how do you go about choosing your strategy? When do you know is the key moment to pit? Have you already determined it? Are you listening to someone in your ear, or is it a question of looking at that lap board, looking in your mirrors and just judging it as you go?
Yes, there's a group of us in a call, sort of all discussing strategy. So they sort of deafen me for most of the race, so I can't hear what they're discussing. And then when there's an important call that needs to be made, they will come in my ear and let me know. They keep me updated with other things that happen in the race, with gaps and things. But a lot of it is prep before the race. So we've been doing lots of work on strategy, trying to work out how far the tyres can go, sort of plotting what the optimal strategy is. And we sort of had an idea of what that is. But obviously you get into the race and you never know what's going to happen in the race. So it's sort of just trying to react as best you can. And that's why it was great to have them in the call with me to advise, because it's quite a lot to drive and try and make up the strategy as you go along. So it's great to have them.
It's been great to have you with us as well. Going forward, are you excited? What have you got planned? Anything you can tell us?
Nothing as yet, but hopefully there'll be some news soon, maybe.
Excellent stuff. And suffice to say, that was a fantastic drive and might well be one of the highlights of the season. It certainly has been so far. How do people keep an eye on your team? How do people follow you guys on social media?
So yeah, our Instagram is Sufst, SUFST. So yeah, you can keep an eye on our Instagram. We post regular updates with all the sort of things we're getting on to. We recently, last week, had one of our old cars put into Beauty Motor Museum just down the road. So if you want to go and give there a visit, go and check out one of our old cars. You can do that there as well.
I've been to Bewley. I had an absolutely great time. The Bond in Motion exhibition back in, must have been 2012, 2013. It's a fantastic day out. Can thoroughly recommend it. And you get to see a Formula Student car. How is the new car coming? How is the car for this season coming from you guys in Southampton?
It's coming along, yeah. Everyone's working really hard, all the departments. So yeah, we're confident we'll have a running car come competition.
Very much looking forward to seeing it in action at Silverstone. Looking forward to seeing you in action at the next round. Thank you so much for joining us. Race 2 winners for you right here on FS UK Sim Racing.
Great, thanks very much.
There we go then, Jess. How great was that? Absolutely stunning. Jess, I believe you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. That's better.
The traditional you're on mute. I have to say though, Giles, that was probably a really great evening. 2 different race winners of Southampton and Glasgow going side by side for a lot of the races. We've seen the midfield going through it. We've literally had most drivers going for it. Track conditions were difficult for some drivers going on the gravel and losing it a few times as well, probably because they may have timed their strategy wrong, potentially. I don't know. Their tyres. And I think they just had to think smarter, and we just had action everywhere. I can't wait for round 3 to begin in about a month's time, and hope that.
But for now, it all comes down to not only server 1. This is the first time in I think this series where the results in server 2 have a major effect on the results overall in the championship, because the winners last round, Vigo, were racing in server 2, so the results for Glasgow, Southampton, who both had great rounds tonight, their position in the overall championship will depend on how Vigo have done, because Glasgow and Southampton didn't really have a fantastic round last month, so it could all be to play for. And the person who can tell us what is going on is James Montgomery.
Thank you, guys. And there's actually one other thing to consider as well. What else are we publishing tonight, guys?
Engineering Challenge results.
Exactly, and that's a huge influence as well, because there's 50 points up for grab for each of these challenges now, and come the season end, you can't drop these scores. You have to do them if you want to be competitors, so that's essentially 250 points in total. There's 5 of these challenges throughout the series, so yeah, 50 points as well as a potential 100 points for grabs tonight as well in the race. Someone could be going away with 150 points tonight, guys. That's a huge influence as well. So, with a lot of information to go through, shall we start off with Engineering Challenge first, or our provisional top 3 results from both servers?
I'd say because the Engineering Challenge, it could completely change everything. So let's do the racing results, and then let's have a look at the Engineering Challenge.
Alrighty. So, if I change my screen around, hopefully we can now see. So these are the provisional results on the servers. These are the live timings. You guys have access to see these all the time, but as we saw, it's almost like last season again, isn't it, guys? We've got Southampton, we have Glasgow, we have Bolton, we have Salford. It's like some things just never change, does it? But then you have a look underneath, and we've got like Bath, we've got Cardiff, Poly U, University Portsmouth, Alternative Fuels. So they have all got some big scores. Vigo, as we say, the championship leaders, they failed to qualify in the top server for either race tonight, but fair play to them. They've made the best of a bad situation here, because they managed to win both of the races in the bottom tier servers. So once we go and publish the overall results in a minute, actually they've earned a big chunk of points tonight, so hopefully damage limitation, I think, is what they're going to call it here. Also, honourable mention, I have to say, once again to Queen's Belfast University and to De Montfort. Look at that, they made up 16 and 14 places retrospectively to finish, to round out the top 3 there. Munster were 4th, Staffordshire 5th, so unfortunately they couldn't join us in the top tier server there. Birmingham in 6th, Napier in 7th. NTU, my brain has gone dead. Jess, help me out here if you know it off by heart by any chance.
What number?
Number 44. Number 44.
That is Nottingham Trent University.
Thank you very much. Nottingham Trent University with Glasgow B in 9th and UWTSD in 10th on the bottom server there. So as I say, guys, this does have a huge impact because you're still scoring points here, and hopefully it's going to help you out come the overall standings. So if I move on to our other page, what does this look like for the overall race results then?
Ooh.
So, who are we guessing as our winners, guys?
I'm going to go with...
It's close.
I'll go
It's
Glasgow.
really close. You're going with Glasgow, Jess?
I'm going to...
I'm going to go... I don't know, because they both got a first and a second.
It was... And they both got a pole, so they got a bonus point for that as well. Unbelievably.
So is it going to go down to count back?
Oh, no. No, there was another factor. Have a look at this. 1 point in it. 97
No.
points to Southampton, 96 to Glasgow. Southampton got a faster slap, which gave them the extra bonus point to make them provisionally our winners for tonight.
No way.
Glasgow in
This is
second.
why I love doing this.
Salford in
Same.
third. Portsmouth, Alternative Fuels in fourth. Liverpool, John Moores in fifth. Bolton in sixth. Hull in seventh. Bath eighth. Cardiff ninth. Munster 10th. Vigo also 11th. So they still managed to notch up 50 points, even though we did not see them at all tonight. So fair play to, well, who were the championship leaders going into this race. So, yes, a lot of tight scoring there, but a big congratulations to Southampton. And I have to say, guys, you realise we've now had 4 different winners in 4 races.
Can we do
It's a
6
great
different winners
series.
next time?
Oh, that would be good if we
Fingers
could do that.
crossed.
That would be very good if we could do that.
But
Now,
we may
So those-
still have another. We may still have a different winner in the engineering challenge.
absolutely, and
Yes.
that is going to really define what the championship standings look like. So before I show you what the championship standings look like, let's go back onto my webpage because I have the results ready to show you guys. Congratulations to the University of Glasgow for winning the first of the engineering challenges. So they have been rewarded with 50 points. Southampton came second in that, so they got 45 points out of that. Bolton were third. College Dublin were fourth. University College Dublin were fourth with UCL in fifth. Strathclyde sixth. Birmingham seventh. Vigo were eighth. Queen Mary were 9th and Cardiff in 10th. Unfortunately, we just have 4 universities who didn't meet all of the criteria. So, as I say, guys, it's not just about posting a fastest lap, which will get you the win or to score points. It's an engineering challenge. We want to critically assess what's going on with the challenges. So we want to hear about engineering practices. We want to see the data. The work that these universities are publishing are being judged by professional engineers in industry. So they're wanting to get into their brain and understand how they've come to their conclusion. And they felt that Glasgow did the best job because out of the 50 judging points that were available, they got a score of 47 out of 50, so a near perfect report from them. Essentially an A star. If we go, oh, actually, we don't do A stars anymore, do we? What was it?
9.
No.
9. There we are. Southampton with 40 judging points and 38 judging points for Bolton. They were our top 3. So as you can see, that equates to 50, 45, and 42 championship points for the team. So, once we go and throw that into the championship standings, we have
What does this do to the points?
a very, very different outlook on things, I can assure you. So,
It feels like Noel's house party now.
oh, I know, right? It's mad. So, leaving
Tension.
round 2, our championship leaders are Southampton, 205 points. Bolton, second on 190. Glasgow, look at that, from 21st. They've bounced back up to third. They've scored 150 points. They came into this round on 31 points. So they scored 150 points between the engineering challenge and that second place today. And Vigo, still in with a shout. Look at that. They're still up there in fourth on 178 points. Well done to the newcomers. After that, it's a mixture of the typical protagonists and the new names as well. We've got Hull, Salford, College Dublin, Portsmouth Alternative Fuels, Cardiff, and the University of Bath rounding out the top 10. But yes, it's making for a very, very unpredictable season at the moment, guys. And with 200 more
I'm
of these
loving it.
points still left for grabs in the engineering challenge, we have a drop round as well to consider. Probably Glasgow's is going to be round 1, but the steamroller has pretty much begun again now, it looks like. This is looking like a tasty season, wouldn't you say, guys?
Oh, I'm so here for this, Jess. I'm so here for this. And don't forget, of course, the teams will have to play their Joker by round 3. And they get
They
2
don't have
Jokers per
to.
season. Do they not? I thought they did.
They don't have to use it at all if they don't want to, but if they want to use their first Joker, they got to use it by round 3, otherwise they'll lose it and only have 1 more left for the rest of the season.
There we go. So, looks like next race is going to be even more exciting than tonight's. So, do tune in next month to join us. Thank you ever so much. It's been an absolute blast from start to finish tonight, and we're going to do it all again in January. Make sure you are there. I've been Giles Cosgrove. She's been Jess Ball. He's been the voice in my head, aka James Monty Montgomery. And we will catch you. There we go. We'll catch you in January. Thank you ever so much. Have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.